Go ahead, ask your questions. I read your question. As I understand, you're a mother, right? Okay. Please sit down. You see, you're right. You probably listen to my lectures, right? So you need a prayer that will first ease your heart step by step. I think you approached me before.
Yes.
Yesterday evening, I already told you that you need to stop being emotionally dependent on your son. You're attached to him, and when you rely on him...
That's my older son, and this is about my younger one.
You need to become self-sufficient in your heart and strong. Only then will you truly be able to help him. In general, you need to understand how men develop. All men, all boys grow through movement. This is very important to realize. If you want your son to grow, you can't let him get stuck in computer games. It's a dead end. He needs sports, physical activities. A boy must move, overcome challenges through action. This is crucial for him. A woman develops through emotions and caring for others. When she takes care of someone, gets involved, she grows. And also through creativity, like dancing, singing. Women grow through creativity, while men grow through movement, sports, active hobbies. For men, everything depends on willpower. If it's weak, bad habits and bad company take over. He simply doesn't know another way to live. That's why clubs and sports are essential. Once he starts running, wrestling, he begins to grow. And prayer too. It should bring you inner peace. Only then will your son start listening. Right now, while you're emotionally dependent on your children, they don't hear you. Dependency blocks communication. Imagine if I depended on you. Do you actually like my lectures or not? Please tell me.
Very much.
Really, that makes me so happy. And that's it, I'm done. I don't want to listen anymore. Feels heavy, right? That's dependency. When I try to take happiness from you, enjoy your attention. But what should I do? Give you joy, share happiness. These are fundamentally different mindsets. Right now, you're dependent on your children. As people age, they become more helpless. Because of illness, aging, emotional burdens piling up, a person becomes like a child, dependent. But you shouldn't give in. Move more, walk, stay active. Spend more time in nature, pray more. As you age, you should increase spiritual practice. The older a person gets, the harder life becomes. But if they work on themselves, they grow wise. And then they are even more valuable than the young. But as people get older, those who constantly worry about their children, how they are living, become too dependent. This dependence can make children not even want to talk to you. You need to be self-sufficient and happy, regardless of how they live. They also need to make mistakes in life and do foolish things. Otherwise, what kind of life is that?
I understand.
Come on, lift your spirits, be strong. What is this, huh?
Okay, thank you.
You need to be happy and self-sufficient. Hallelujah means praise be to God. You should repeat short prayers like these. Glory to the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. In other words, repeat short prayers. There is also Alhamdulillah, a Muslim prayer which also means praise be to God. A person should repeat God's names, praise Him, glorify Him, and forget about themselves. When someone forgets themselves, bad fate begins to fade away and leave their life. They become connected with God. Bad fate lives in memory. If you remember God, it means you no longer remember bad fate. Your positive memory strengthens while the negative one fades. This first brings peace to your heart. Then comes the second stage, influence. You begin to influence the situation. And the third stage, the other person starts to change. Through prayer alone, you can bring change to how he fits into your fate. But this takes time and effort. Most importantly, you need to get him into a sports club or activity. There, they will shape him into a person. Social interaction is essential. You're right. Bad company is a sign of incorrect thinking in the family. We'll talk about this throughout the lecture, how to cultivate the right mindset in a family. It's not just bad luck that a child ends up in bad company. A child's first bad company is their family, you see. That is the real bad company. This is the first bad company he got into, and that one is already the second. You see, you need to create a clean and positive atmosphere in your home. Then your children will grow up properly in it. I can see that your life has a heavy atmosphere, a difficult one. This is what you need to overcome. Next questions?
Good evening. Thank you so much for your service to people. I'll describe a situation. A guy and a girl met, and something quickly developed between them.
The guy and the girl, how do they relate to you?
I met a man.
Yes, you see, when we talk about someone, I can't help them without seeing or hearing them.
I met a man, and we immediately formed a very warm friendship, quite close. We talked a lot, including about spiritual topics. We discussed your lectures. In short, we were just friends. And after some time, about 6 months, the girl realized that she had grown attached to this person, not just as a friend, and decided to talk to him. In response, he said, "I like you, but I don't have strong feelings. You're rushing me, but I really don't want to lose our close connection. It's valuable to me."
You know, some guys just enjoy deep conversations with women, talking about everything in a profound, pure, and beautiful way. You understand? This means he's simply not ready to take responsibility. He's afraid of marriage. He's just afraid of marriage. You understand? He's immature, not fully grown as a man.
I guess you've already answered my question, but is a serious relationship even possible with this man?
It's very easy to find out.
How?
It's simple. Just stop talking to him. Shut off the tap. He's enjoying your company but doesn't want to take action. Turn off the tap and watch. If he disappears, then there's nothing there. If he starts asking for a relationship, set your terms. How long have we been talking already?
But even if he disappears, the attachment is still there. How do I overcome it?
That's your problem, not his. I'll explain if you want. Listen, girls, if you want to build a family, you need to know the rules. You know Newton's law, right? Well, there are also laws for building a family, and one of them is this. The man should be the one falling in love first. If a woman falls in love first and feels drawn to him, it leads to sex, not marriage. If the man falls in love first, it leads to marriage. As soon as a woman gets attached, it's a bad sign. Don't get attached. Let him be the one to get attached and pursue marriage. If you become attached, you've already lost him. If sex has already happened, he starts to lose interest while you become even more attached, and the stronger your attachment, the less interesting you become to him. Because when one person gets too attached, the other starts to feel drained. But if a man gets attached first, the woman can wait for him to propose. She won't have to leave the relationship. Of course, anyone who's overly attached can be annoying, but for a woman, it's a good thing when a man is the one getting attached. Let him love you, but don't let your emotions run wild. Don't get attached. If you do, you've lost him, so detach yourself.
How do I do that?
Do not communicate with him. Cut off contact and see what happens. If it's not too late, he'll react and try to reconnect. Communicate carefully by phone, but don't meet up, go out, or kiss. In other words, keep your distance. Got it? Talk, and that's it. He should feel drawn to you, that he needs you. Then you intensify this attraction, but don't let him get too close. Don't give him the chance to have fun with you, go out, or engage in long conversations. Understand? If he truly needs you, he'll show it. If not, then you've lost him. Forget it. Nothing can be done. Next time, don't do this. Don't get attached. Let him be the one who does. There are different ways to make this happen. Let him fight. Let him pursue. This way his love and sense of responsibility grow. That's how you should behave. If she gives in too soon, he loses interest. A man should pursue. If he feels he can't win you over, it means you're truly valuable to him. This is a man's nature. He must fight, chase, and achieve. If the princess jumps out right away, he loses interest and moves on to find another. Don't be so trusting. A relationship between a man and a woman is a battle of two egos. If the female ego wins, a family is formed. If the male ego wins, it's just the bedroom. Then goodbye. A woman should be stronger, mentally tougher. Don't let him get too close. Don't say too much. If he talks you into something you've lost, then he moves on to the next one. He won against you. You should have won against him. Women, remember this. Women have this instinct, not to get attached too soon. Words mean nothing, and yet you've already pricked up your ears. Next question, you, the girl with glasses.
Hello, I have a question. My husband and I have been together for 8 years, married for 4. We have a son.
Well done. You squeezed him for 4 years, then married him. Perfect.
My question is, do we need to have a church wedding? And if so, how do I guide him toward it?
A church wedding wouldn't hurt. How? Do it according to your faith. If your faiths are different, try to do it in both.
How can I lead him to this?
Lead him? Just say it kindly. I want to have a church wedding. Say it 50 times and you'll get him there.
So I'm on the right track. Thank you.
Keep pushing. How do women do it? I want this, I want that, I want. And he's like, oh Lord, fine, let's go have a church wedding. What, don't you know how? Your question, woman in the second row.
Yesterday, we talked about the connection with a deceased loved one, the invisible thread that ties us to someone who has passed into another world. I want to ask about my son. How can I know if I have truly let him go or not?
You don't need to let anyone go. The connecting thread remains. People are never truly separated. A person may forget, but the connection remains. I had a grandfather on my mother's side. I looked like him. He loved me very much. Before he passed away, he even waited until I was picked up from kindergarten. He looked at me. I was 3.5 years old and passed away right after that. Literally within a few minutes. He waited for me, looked at me, and passed away. And I was curious about his further destiny. I started praying and felt where his soul had gone. I saw that he was reborn somewhere in China. And now he's already an adult. We have about a 5-year age difference. He's only 5 years younger than me, around 45 years old now. I started focusing, trying to connect with him mentally, tuning into him. And he became very anxious. He didn't understand what was happening. He couldn't remember. He didn't know he had lived in Russia before, that he had been through a war. He had no memory of it. But the connection remained. He felt uneasy, but he didn't know why. Now he's Chinese. He has a different life. The body changes, but the soul remains the same. The connections stay. They never break. If a person ascends to higher realms, to paradise, they become like a guardian angel. The pure atmosphere there has an influence on you. If a person remains in the middle realms, on earth, for example, this kind of connection remains, and people continue to influence each other. But if they go to the lower realms, to hell, then they need prayers to be lifted out. You'll feel a heaviness in your heart, a weight pulling you down, a deep sorrow connected to that person.
No, I have a bright feeling.
A bright, peaceful feeling. That's good. Everything is fine. A pure and light memory of a loved one is a good sign. Another woman just asked me the same thing. The family fell apart. The relationship ended. What if you can't forget someone? You will never truly forget them. She says, I can't forget, so I can't find someone new. That's right, but what should you do? You need to understand. You don't have to forget them, and you shouldn't try to break the bond. People try to forget, to break the connection, but that's the wrong mindset. Instead, reflect on what happened, cleanse the relationship, and learn to remember the person with light and warmth. Gradually, as your memories become clearer and free of pain, you will be able to open yourself to new relationships. Because as long as there is pressure, resentment, or unfulfilled desires towards someone, the past still weighs on you. But a pure and bright memory is free from desire or resentment. It's simply something light and peaceful. And when your heart holds such a memory, it becomes open to new relationships. The person will always remain in your heart as a bright and pure memory. You need to cleanse your heart. Only then will it be ready for new love.
Thank you.
The same applies here. You need to hold on to a pure and bright memory of your son. That is enough. You cannot break this bond. It will stay with you for a long time. They will definitely remain for several lifetimes.
I was just worried that if I keep remembering and feeling sad about what happened, it might be bad for him.
Remembering means the connection is still there, but worrying comes from inner weakness. When you remember someone, it means you are in contact with them. Try to understand this. When you remember someone, you establish a connection with them. If you remember him and start feeling anxious, you should pray instead of worrying. Imagine your kitchen is dirty, and instead of cleaning it, you just sit there worrying. What should you do? You need to clean it, not just sit and stress about it. Worrying means laziness of the soul. When the soul worries about someone, it means it is not in the right state. It's being lazy. You should listen to those who pray with them, and stop worrying. When you cleanse your memories through prayer, it means you've done your part and he feels better. But if you worry about his struggles, you're only making things harder for him. You make it even worse for the person. Instead, you should make things better. Cleanse yourself, purify your thoughts, and feel joy for him. That way you will overcome fate. Say, I worry about my son.
I worry about my son.
Let's all worry together then. I'll start worrying too. Did you like such an answer? No. Why? I'm also worrying. You don't like it, do you? He wouldn't like it either, just like you. Worrying isn't fair. It's a lazy mindset. You need to overcome, not worry. Fight, move forward. You can do it with your own strength, if you have it, or by drawing strength from a spiritual person, by praying with them. Worrying means laziness of the soul. It means, I don't want to work with my heart and soul.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your patience with me. I put you in a difficult situation, but that's good, thank you. The lady in the back with the blue scarf.
Hello. I have a question about women's finances. For many years, I spent my own money on groceries and supporting my family.
And now you can't forget about it?
No, that's not the issue. I've started changing things. Now my husband pays for utilities and groceries.
And does it feel great? Do you feel relaxed?
Not completely. The problem is, I want to spend my own money on my personal needs as a woman.
That's right.
But he gets upset. He says, "You don't have money, so why are you going for a massage? Or to the swimming pool? Why?"
He doesn't realize he's actually envious of your position as a woman. He wishes he could be born a woman too, so he could go for massages using his own money.
I'm supposed to support him in both sorrow and joy. While we don't have enough money, I should be on the same page as him.
You need to explain things to him. Ask him, can you give birth to a child? Carry it, give birth? No, you can't, right? I gave birth to children. I take care of them, raise them, so I have my own rewards. One of them is being able to go for a massage. A woman is born to bring happiness. You can explain it differently to him. Say, if I don't go for massages, I'll be sad. If I'm sad, your mood will suffer too. But if I take care of myself, I'll feel good, and you will too. Men need to be educated. You can say it differently. If you don't let me go for a massage, I'll be moody all day and all week. And who benefits from that? You need to make him understand somehow. If a man doesn't get it, you need to be patient. If nothing works, if he still doesn't understand, be patient, because many men don't realize the difference between a man and a woman. They think it's all the same. Lack of awareness, lack of understanding. And that means he'll end up living an unhappy life. Because when a woman is given some privileges in life, like enjoying sweets or spending a little on herself, she feels deeply grateful, and she gives back with love. She takes care of the person. It's a natural exchange. A woman cooks, takes care of the family, cleans, does the laundry, and a man should support her by giving her a chance to rest. For some women, relaxation means chatting with a friend. For others, going for a massage. It must be done by a woman, definitely a woman, not a man.
So I shouldn't feel ashamed of these things. I have a right to them by birth.
Women, you shouldn't feel ashamed? No, you shouldn't. For example, if you sleep a little longer, you're a woman, and there's nothing to be ashamed of. If you ate something sweet, you shouldn't be ashamed. I'll now explain the difference between a man and a woman. Men often envy women. They wonder, why can't I, but you can? Well then, give birth like a woman. Can't do that? Then relax. The difference is like a field. Let me explain. There is such a thing as a fallow field. What does fallow mean? It means nothing is planted on it. In other words, the field rests, so it can grow crops later. Similarly, a woman's life is meant for rest, relaxation, happiness, peace, enjoyment, and tranquility. And when a woman is denied this, though she was born for it, she starts to complain, to rebel, because she's not allowed to live as a woman. A man's life is meant for overcoming fate, for battle, for facing challenges. That's why there's a difference between men and women. So what is it? When a man wins, what makes him special? How do people treat him? He succeeds, he grows stronger. How do people see him?
They respect him.
Like a winner, with respect. Thank you, you're amazing. You're the best, the wisest, the bravest. This is a man's privilege. He should be treated this way. A woman is weak. How is she treated? You're weak, rest, go get a massage. Men, you should know. Women have 3 stages of illness, and this directly concerns you. The first stage is sick. The second stage is very sick. The third stage is widow. Because when a woman is sick, she drives her husband crazy. When she's very sick, she drives him even crazier. And at the third stage, he's already gone, and she's still sick. If some men still don't get it, life will make you understand. So it's better not to argue with women. Let them rest and enjoy life. The important thing is that they care for you, look after you, treat you gently, and see you as the head of the family. That's it, that's enough. That's her role. Everything else is her privilege. If he is uneducated, pray. If he suppresses your feminine nature, time will set things right, because a woman cannot live without being allowed to be a woman. She rebels and becomes unhappy. As a result, there is less happiness in the family. He also becomes tense, restless, because there's no energy of joy at home. A vicious cycle. Your question?
Thank you very much.
Don't blame him for anything at home. Just accept the situation. In your case, you just need to accept it and explain to him the difference between a woman and a man. Let him try to understand. If he doesn't, life will teach him. Yes?
Hello, it's very nice that you came to Khabarovsk. I've watched many of your lectures, I listened to you, and I'm glad I can ask you questions. I have a question for you. I'm in my second relationship now. The first was official, the second is unofficial. In my first official relationship, I had 2 children, 2 daughters. The second relationship is unofficial.
So you have 3 children from your first relationship?
2 children.
2 children, 2 daughters?
Yes, 2 daughters. In my second unofficial relationship, we had a son. He's 1 year old. But he treated me badly. It was breaking me, so I decided I didn't want to live like that anymore. I don't want to tolerate it anymore. For 3 years, we attended seminars, watched things together, but I just don't have the strength anymore. Besides this, I also work.
Live separately, but don't break up. A man can only be taught through distance. Explaining things to him is useless. Lecturing them is pointless. It doesn't work. What do women do? They keep lecturing, get exhausted, and then leave the man. So they make 2 mistakes at once. First, they lecture for too long. Second, they leave. But there's only one right step to take. Live separately and set conditions. That's fair. There's nothing wrong with living separately and setting conditions. Do you want to live with me? Yes? Then I need you to do this, otherwise I can't. I want to be with you, and I'm waiting for you to change.
We've been distancing ourselves like this for 3 years. 1 month together, then 2 or 3 months apart, then back together. But nothing changes.
Calm down, my dear, calm down. You need to set conditions. If he says, I'm ready to meet them, you live together. If he stops, separate again. If he wants to follow the conditions again, you get back together. If he stops, then you separate. Over time, he gets the chance to adapt. After going back and forth a few times, he eventually starts living the right way. But if you just reunite without him making any promises, then it's your problem.
No, we get back together, and for the first month, everything is perfect. But by the 3rd month, it turns into complete nonsense.
So he can't handle it. You see, when a man lives with a woman, he relaxes, loses willpower, self-control. A woman naturally has a calming effect on a man. When he's with her, he becomes soft, like a pastry, completely relaxed, so you distance yourself for a while, but then he relaxes again. This means he's not mature yet. He needs time to grow up.
Then how do I raise my son properly to be a real man?
You need to change your life, not raise your son. In today's lecture, I'll talk about how this is a systemic issue. If a man becomes too soft, his son will likely follow the same pattern. This happens when a woman doesn't create the right environment in the family. A woman sets the atmosphere at home. If she does it right, the man follows, and then the son also picks it up. Right now, your home environment is not structured properly, and that needs to change. In my lecture, I'll explain how to fix this and what steps to take.
Thank you very much.
Today's talk will be about this. Well, let's hear from this young lady.
Good afternoon, Dr. Torsunov. I have this question. How should I communicate with my boyfriend? I studied abroad, and that's where I met him. He proposed to me, and then we met his parents. But 4 days later, he got into a serious accident. He loves motorcycles and was hit by a car. He ended up in intensive care. It was a very difficult situation. He almost died. His parents took me in. I lived with them for about 2 weeks, but then I had to return to Russia.
And what about him now? Did he survive?
He survived, yes, everything is fine.
He's not disabled or anything, right?
Well, his ribs were all broken, and his arm might not recover fully. So hips are broken.
Is he a good person, talented? Does he like working?
He's a good person. I once heard your lecture where you talked about seeing light in people. When we first met, I saw that light in him, and as we kept talking, I continued to see it. Maybe I'm just imagining things.
What is your question for me?
I understand that everything is hard for him. The pain. Everything he's going through.
You can't truly understand it. No one can ever fully understand someone else's pain.
He wants me to tell him that I love him and that I need him.
Yes, you should say that. Understand that there are 3 types of relationships between a man and a woman. When a man is struggling, the woman should take on a motherly role. This means treating him like a child. Right now he's struggling, he's broken, and he needs motherly care.
Dr. Torsunov, I'm not married. He just proposed, but we haven't had a wedding yet.
It doesn't matter. This is a test. God is testing you.
Everyone around us, at least while I was living with his parents, said, date for another 5 years before getting married. But my parents have no objections.
Do you want me to argue with your parents or what? What am I supposed to do here? What do you want from me? I'm just explaining that there are 3 types of relationships. The first is an equal relationship, when life is stable and both the man and woman are on the same level. A woman may choose to make herself seem smaller to make the man feel more comfortable and make life easier for him. But when necessary, she can say what needs to be said. She's not always walking on eggshells. Sometimes she can speak the truth.
You say not to get attached, but I feel like I'm making myself smaller. And at the same time, I'm getting very attached.
Are you getting too attached?
Yes.
Then don't. Who's forcing you?
It just happens on its own.
Does it? Pray that it doesn't. The second type of relationship is when a man is struggling and the woman takes care of him like a mother. Like a mother, this doesn't disturb the balance because when someone is struggling, they need care, just like from a mother. And when it's the other way around, when a woman is struggling, the man takes on a fatherly role. He calms her down, helps her pull herself together. She's falling apart and he takes care of her. This is love. Love means stepping beyond yourself. Of course, when you're not married yet, you want him to show strength and courage. But right now, life has broken him, and he simply can't. He is broken as a person, he needs support, and he's afraid of losing you right now. Most likely, he feels like he's losing his destiny, losing everything. You need to show him loyalty. Even if you don't truly feel it in your heart, you should act in a way that makes him feel you are a reliable person. If you stand by him in his time of trouble, he will deeply appreciate it in the future. But if you distance yourself from him now when he needs you most, and later, when he becomes strong again, you suddenly decide to rebuild a closer relationship with him, he won't accept it. Right now, your love is being tested by God. If you want to have such a good person in your life, then take care of him. If not, you will see a different outcome. He will not accept you.
Thank you.
Now he will understand who you are.
Everyone around me started saying I shouldn't get attached to him.
Don't get attached, but take care of him. Attach yourself to God, pray to him, and take care of this person. Don't humiliate yourself, just take care of him calmly. If he is being difficult, be patient. He's going through a tough time, completely broken, barely survived. This is an emergency. Whether you're a true friend or not, life will reveal it now. All right, it seems like you're already feeling distant from me, as if there's no lecture ahead and we've already parted ways. No? Everything's fine? Good.
There are 3 types of relationships, but how do they manifest?
I mentioned 3. When a woman is in trouble, the man takes the role of the elder. When a man is in trouble, the woman takes the role of the elder. The third type is an equal relationship. This is the main one. Some men say, "You are beneath me, you should know your place." That is not true. Men and women have equal relationships. A woman is not inferior. She may choose to put herself in a supportive role so that the man feels comfortable, but she does this voluntarily. However, if a man suppresses a woman and says, "You're a woman, be quiet, stay silent," that is wrong, and you should never accept it. This kind of thinking is destructive and will always lead to the breakdown of a family. Did you hear? Never allow yourself to be ordered around. There is no difference. Men and women are equal in relationships. A woman gives way to a man because he needs to develop strong willpower. She should entrust him with responsibility for his actions. Let him take charge. That is how he grows and becomes stronger. If a woman insists, "I will take care of everything myself," he won't develop. He will simply say, "All right, you handle everything, I'll just sit back and relax." That's it. A man can either take responsibility or do nothing, one of the two. If a woman takes full responsibility for everything, it means he cannot function properly with her. A woman has her own area of responsibility which she should not pass on to her husband. This includes the home environment, cleanliness, and relationships with relatives. She should manage these herself. In general, relationships with different people, she oversees family relationships and how they develop. She can point things out to her husband. "You shouldn't behave like that in this or that situation." She can even comment on his interactions with friends. "You're not treating them right." She monitors relationships. She takes care of the family's health. If her husband refuses to see a doctor, she should insist. Monitoring health is a woman's responsibility. Relationships, morality, everything related to conscience, whether someone behaves ethically or not, a woman plays a key role in maintaining this balance. And in general, the atmosphere in the home and family. Now I will talk about the atmosphere.
Hello, I am grateful for this opportunity to hear your perspective and make meaningful changes in my life. Moments like these are rare. Having the privilege to speak with an elder who has such vast experience. Thank you once again. I feel completely lost and believe this is a crucial revelation I need to receive for myself and my life. Perhaps it will help someone else too. 3 words: duty, responsibility, and obligation. A woman has a duty by birth, and she has obligations. As I see it, many obligations exist only in a woman's mind. Based on my own experience and that of my acquaintances, I realize we often take on more than we should.
Yes, that can happen. Not everything you do is truly your obligation.
As a result, we overburden ourselves mentally and physically, and we can no longer serve effectively.
Yes, for example, a woman is not obligated to work. This is not her duty. But if the family is struggling financially, she can temporarily help her husband. However, she should make it clear that if she works, having children during this time will be either impossible or very difficult. Energy can either go into work or into the body, one or the other. If a woman stops working and rests for a while, she can usually conceive. If she overworks herself, there may be no children at all. If she does this for years, she might even develop infertility. So while a woman can help a man earn money, it shouldn't become a permanent arrangement. Because eventually she will have a child and will need to stay with them. If she sends the child to daycare, then who will raise them? The family? No. That's just a gamble. Later you'll find out what really happened to your child after daycare. Here's the reality. You don't know the people there. You send your child to kindergarten without knowing who will raise them, and these people's mindset will shape your child's worldview. Later, parents wonder where their child picked up certain behaviors. That's why structuring a child's life is a serious responsibility. There are specialized moral schools. A child can even study at home through an online moral education program. Many parents take their child's education into their own hands. Their child doesn't attend a regular school but follows a custom program. At the same time, they attend sports clubs and activities where they are surrounded by good people. They also participate in spiritual events which help their personal development. Pay attention to who your child interacts with and how. Right now, the environment in schools and colleges, the entire system is flawed. An educational institution should have a religious foundation. It should not be purely secular but spiritual as well. Every subject should incorporate a spiritual foundation. Education should guide children toward God. But in secular schools, children are influenced by modern trends, some of which may not align with our values. For example, a trend from America promotes the idea that blowing things up is cool. It's just a trend. A child absorbs this idea, carries it for years, and since their brain isn't fully developed, they don't question it. They start thinking, how awesome would it be to shoot everyone, to blow everything up and commit suicide? That's cool. These are modern schools. This can happen. That's why parents need to seriously study how to raise children properly. You have a choice. Organize remote education. Sometimes it's even cheaper than a traditional school. You can create an environment for your child that fosters their development. This is a woman's duty.
You have no idea what kind of miracles are happening right now. It just makes me happy. I took the microphone. I had a certain feeling. I started asking a question, and you continued describing exactly what I was feeling. 3 years ago, I was a free woman with 1 child. Then, as you put it, fate intervened, and suddenly I became a mother of 4. Just like that, boom, and that's it. And I started thinking exactly as you say, about schools, about how my children's education depends on me, about the fact that I am a woman, and this is my responsibility. Everything you're saying about schools resonates with me. My husband and I discussed this, and I broke down under the weight of this choice. I have 3 children in home education and a baby.
You know there are online schools now. You can look them up on the internet. You can enroll your child in a school where they just go to take exams. You can set up a study group at home. Children of friends and acquaintances come together and learn. One of the moms can be paid to supervise and they can take turns. And children follow the curriculum online. There are entire educational platforms now. This is often cheaper than a good school, yet the quality of education can be excellent. For children's social development, they should also attend extracurricular activities. They study, do their homework, and then go to active clubs. Boys should join sports sections to grow strong and develop as individuals. Girls should join creative activities, singing, dancing, and so on. And it's better to organize studies at home because schools today often lack sincerity in the education process. Conscience means spirituality. If a person understands that they are guiding a child toward God, they will truly do so. But if they just assign homework and send the student away, it's an impersonal approach. A child should learn character traits from elders, not just gain knowledge. But in modern schools, education is mechanical. Complete the task, get a good grade, fail it, get a bad one. No one cares about what's in a child's heart. That's why they grow up feeling unwanted. And when that happens, they stop needing others too. So children should be educated differently. They need to develop heart, spirituality, and a deep understanding of life. Studying literature is one thing. For example, Eugene Onegin memorized it, gets a good mark, didn't memorize, gets a bad mark. But what's the point? Why do we need Eugene Onegin? Because there are plenty of these London dandies nowadays, all flashy, full of themselves, capable of shooting a friend. Pushkin wrote about this. He says, look at this charming young man and what eventually happens to him in life. And he was right. He also described Tatiana, a simple village girl who didn't know much but fell for a city guy. But later, she matured and understood everything as it really is. This is what Pushkin is about. It's not just that he's famous and must be studied. He shows in his books what to do and what not to do. Literature is meant to teach morality and deeper truths, not just to memorize poems. Why learn Pushkin's poems about nature? Because they capture its beauty. And the beauty of nature is essential for our well-being. If we don't appreciate nature, we won't be truly healthy. The sun strengthens our immunity, improves digestion, and fills us with optimism and joy. This is the energy of the sun. If you embrace it, you'll gain these benefits. If you don't, you won't. The energy of water brings harmony, peace, and kindness. If you appreciate water, you absorb its qualities. That's why we have poems about nature. O mournful season that delights the eyes, your farewell beauty captivates my spirit. This is all necessary for a person to connect with nature, to love it.
You've really praised me by saying all this. I realize I'm quite wise. It wasn't in vain that I've been listening to your lectures for so long. It's all been worth it. But still, I think I need your support and guidance. Somehow, responsibility, obligations, and duty have all gotten mixed up for me. But I do feel I'm on the right path.
Responsibility is assigned by elders or the scriptures. Someone tells you this is your duty in life. Obligations come as life progresses. They may differ from responsibilities. Sometimes a person is obliged to do what they are not usually obliged to do. For example, a woman may need to work if her family lacks money. Duty, however, is something determined from above. A woman's duty is to marry and have children, seek God, learn to listen to elders, and purify her heart. This is our duty. We owe only to God. When it comes to responsibility, as you correctly said, mistakes can be made. If you have 4 children, that's where your responsibility lies.
I feel like my responsibility right now is to stay sane, not to leave them without a mother.
Not to go crazy, yes, that means saving up energy.
Pray.
Before this lecture, I had another one at a Vedic temple this morning. So a heavy workload. I finished there, came here, ran 5.5 kilometers, then swam in the pool. Thank God I was placed in a house where I could do this. That's it. I instantly felt re-energized and could continue the lecture. This is my responsibility toward my health. That's a responsibility too.
I'd like to ask you for a solution, as an elder, to seek your help on something. I can't allow myself this because I believe my responsibility lies elsewhere. Am I phrasing it correctly if I put it this way? A woman who is exhausted, stressed, unrested, who hasn't prayed or connected with God, who hasn't tuned into love, is an unwell woman.
That's not a woman, that's a disaster.
And maybe it's better if she doesn't approach her children.
Well, then maybe she shouldn't approach anyone at all.
I want to hold on to this exact thought. I feel like I need it. I've started doing this now. If I don't feel like I've connected with myself in the morning, I don't even go out to make breakfast for my children. They stay hungry. Because I understand that I have no energy, no motivation.
You need to organize life properly. Children can cook for themselves. How old are your eldest?
16 years old. Of course, that's possible.
16 years old, let them cook.
This is the right way to do it, isn't it?
Yes, organize life properly. 4 children. The older ones cook, the younger ones eat. The older ones guide the younger ones. The mother helps and advises.
And the mother connects with God, then comes out and fills everyone with energy.
Too much attention on you. I need to continue my lecture.
I see. Thank you very much.
I've told you everything. Take care of your health. Organize your life properly. You see, that's how you women are. You love to pull attention to yourselves and hold on to it as long as you want. Meanwhile, everyone else is waiting. This conversation was actually on today's lecture topic. Understand this. The atmosphere in a family is very important. Let's go over a few scenarios. Imagine you come home and start chatting with your friends. Your husband comes home and starts watching hockey, and you tell your child, "Go do your homework." Doing homework is a discipline. It means the child has to push through their resistance. Meanwhile, the parents are all relaxed. A child lacks reasoning, lacks ability. Reasoning means willpower, enthusiasm, and determination. A child doesn't yet possess these qualities. They're not mature enough. Not even all adults have these qualities. Yet, you expect the child to take on this challenge alone while surrounded by adults who are doing the opposite. Let me give you an example. Suppose you wake up early in the morning while everyone else is still asleep. You stand up, say a prayer, and then go back to sleep. Why? Because that's the atmosphere around you. When everyone is sleeping, the energy of sleep builds up and you start feeling sleepy too. That's the atmosphere of the home. When I visit a sacred place, I wake up very early and don't feel sleepy. Why? Because everyone there wakes up early. That atmosphere makes it natural. At our festival, everyone gets up early and goes to bed early. And people say, "I never followed such a routine before, but here it's so easy." Because when many people do the same thing, it becomes easy for everyone. Who has been to our festival? Do you agree? Wasn't it easier to wake up there than at home? That's the power of atmosphere. And this is a crucial aspect of life. If you don't create an atmosphere that supports a child's development, they won't grow. They simply won't have the strength to. What kind of atmosphere should it be? A family atmosphere. And it starts with the woman. First, the house should be clean. That's number one. There should be icons on the walls, not posters of pop musicians and other meaningless things. Because all these people live disgraceful lives. And their mindset is passed on to children. But whose mindset should be passed on? The mindset of saints. Your walls should have images of saints, not random figures, not dogs, not cats, and definitely not erotic paintings. Otherwise, what will happen to your children? They absorb everything they see. And then you're surprised when your daughter gets pregnant at 15. Whatever is on your walls is what shapes her. That's what she sees every day. She doesn't have the reasoning to analyze it critically. She simply absorbs it as her reality. For you, it's just fashion, but for her, it's life. That's why it's crucial to pay attention to what children watch. When I was a child, I could watch TV without concern because there were patriotic songs. Patriotism is uplifting. It's a good thing. I listened to these songs. I watched movies where a man was truly a man. He protected his homeland. He overcame hardship. Movies about heroes. I grew up with those. And what do they watch now? And yet, we still trust modern media. It's terrifying. It destroys children's consciousness. If only you knew where this content comes from. This information doesn't even come from America. In our universe, there are lower planets. And all these Batman, Spider-Man, the entire robotic civilization, half humans, half robots, they belong to the lower worlds. That's where this information comes from. And film directors get hooked on this information, this energy, and turn it into scripts. In other words, they transmit a brainwashed consciousness to us. In the past, children understood that a knight was a noble warrior, but now a knight is Batman. You can't call Batman a good person. And this is supposed to be a heroic figure? He is not a hero. He is an anti-hero. On the surface, there may be no difference. Movies are filled with nasal voices, sinister characters with terrible habits and twisted views. They kill each other, commit violence, and our children absorb all of this into their minds. And then we wonder, why do schools explode? This is the outcome of all this propaganda. And there are no restrictions on this. If, say, 40 years ago, something like this had been shown on TV, the person responsible would have been sent to prison. That's exactly how it was just 40 years ago. Now they show anything and everything. From erotica to completely meaningless action movies. There are good movies too, you just have to look for them. Many great films are being made and shown. Films with morals, about the lives of saints, about entire cultures. There is a 30-episode TV series called Farooq Omar. It tells the story of how Muslim culture began, what it truly is, who Prophet Muhammad was, who the caliphs were, what Islam really means. Not what many believe today, but what it actually means. It's worth watching. There is also a TV series called Mahabharata, an Indian epic. It describes the incarnation of God, how the Lord came to earth. It's called Mahabharata. It's also a long-running TV series with many episodes. Ramayana is also a TV series. It's another Indian epic. There are also films about the lives of saints, as well as many moral and Christian films. You should watch these. There are hundreds of such films. Even in a year, you wouldn't be able to watch them all. Don't turn on all these avatars. These are not truly moral films. They may have hints of morality, but there are real moral films without any artificial figures. Instead, there are real saints you should look up to and follow as examples. Please take this seriously. Create a proper atmosphere at home. One should know that all food they prepare should be blessed. Such food brings happiness. How you bless your food is up to you. The tradition or faith doesn't matter. What matters is that you cook with prayer. Your food should not be filled with resentment toward your husband, because that resentment will come back to you. He will eat it, and your emotions will be transmitted through the food. Food should be filled with love. These flowers at the lecture now, your thoughts, my thoughts, everything intertwines during the lecture. Then I give these flowers away, and they bring good luck. Some people even say, Dr. Torsunov, I placed this flower in a vase, and it didn't wilt for 4 months. Then it even grew roots. This has happened many times. When a flower is filled with love, why would it wilt? It thrives, it grows. It all depends on love, and you are just like these flowers. You sat at the lecture, absorbed love. Now you need to keep growing, developing, and living the right way. Don't think that everyone is living well. Do you think everyone around you is doing well? Not really. You need to build your life the right way and observe how others live. Nowadays, most people live the wrong way, which is why families are falling apart. How can you tell if people are living well or not? If the divorce rate is 80%, then something is clearly wrong. An 80% divorce rate. 40% of men are alcoholics. These are statistics from at least 5 years ago. I don't know the current numbers. What's good about that? It's complete degradation, a total decline of society. So why live like everyone else? We need to live differently. We need to learn. We need to understand that human life is meant for spiritual self-improvement. It's not meant for cars or apartments. There are in general 3 layers of life. Figure out which one you are at. First layer, the family cannot stay together. Second layer, the family lasts for about 7 or 8 years before falling apart. Third layer, the family remains intact. The first layer is called life in degradation. What kind of life layer is this? How do people live in the degraded layer of life? Life flows like this. People watch immoral films, fight, drink, use drugs, cheat on each other, engage in business connected with the criminal world. This is a life in degradation. The woman is constantly in depression. The man drinks, fights, hits. They cheat on each other. Such a family doesn't last long, and even if it does, it would be better if it didn't. It's better not to live together at all than to live like that. A life of ignorance offers no guarantees, no stability. It only ruins one's destiny. Why do people live this way? Because they are too focused on themselves. When a person thinks that happiness means everything should be the way I want and I don't care about anyone else, that is an ignorant mindset. People who don't want to listen to anyone about how to live properly all think the same way. I know everything myself. Why are you telling me this? And they continue living like that. The result? Suffering and a difficult fate. Most of them don't even make it to old age. They either become alcoholics, fall seriously ill, or face other hardships. And if they do reach old age, their life is nothing to envy. This kind of people makes up a small percentage, maybe about 10% of the population. The next layer of life is much larger. It's called the life in passion. What is it like? Ignorant people believe that happiness means I feel good and I don't care about others. They should take care of themselves. The mindset of a passionate person is different, more complex. They believe that happiness is when they live for themselves and their family, while also trying to help others so that everything is good for everyone. A person in passion thinks life is good when they have everything: money, an apartment, a car, a stable job, and a good education for their children. And by good education, they mean one that allows them to earn well. They believe that the best thing is to be part of the elite, to belong to a privileged class. Their focus is on material wealth. Their entire mindset is shaped by material desires. A person's consciousness has 2 aspects: inner life and external life. These two aspects intersect. When people are focused on external life, their thinking also becomes external. For example, if we are too attached to material things, it becomes very difficult to focus on God, prayer, conscience, or deep relationships. You need to shift to a different concept of happiness. How do people living in passion behave? They keep convincing each other, I love you, I care about you, I need you. But in reality, it's just self-suggestion. But the moment difficulties arise, one of them leaves. And then the question comes, why? We have 2 children. We've been together for so long. Why did he find someone else? What's the reason? The reason is that people living in passion misunderstand happiness. What does it mean to live in passion? It means they think happiness is about feeling at ease. For example, having a car, an apartment, money, what does that give? A sense of relaxation, peace, just no worries. The worries are gone, there's peace. But is that really happiness? True happiness comes from deep relationships. As the song says, I believe in you, my dear friend. This faith protected me from a bullet on a dark night. That's a real connection. That's depth. Love and happiness exist when people work on themselves, when there's honesty and purity in relationships, when you know without doubt that your wife will never betray you. That's happiness. When you know that wealth or poverty doesn't matter, what matters is that you will always be there to support your loved one in difficult times. That's happiness. Giving yourself fully when someone is struggling, that's happiness. Everything else is just comfort. And yet, people chase after comfort as if their lives depend on it. But they never build deep relationships. Why? Because to have deep relationships, you need a spiritual life. For example, when you go to a temple, deep relationships form instantly. A mentor tells you, open your heart, tell me what's inside. And you do. That's what deep relationships are. It's about repentance, confession, inner purity. A person starts to open up, to live a more meaningful life, to bring hidden problems to light. Then they work through those problems, and next time they come back and say, that issue is no longer in my life. Even today, in some villages, people still follow this tradition. I've heard of communities where villagers gather together. It's a small village, and one by one people step into the circle and say, I have sinned in this way, please pray for me. Then the next person steps forward. This is how they open their hearts to one another. This is how deep relationships form and grow. Deep relationships always involve spirituality. They don't develop just because we work together or raise children together. That's not depth. That's simply business or family relationships. And these relationships create a sense of connection. We feel close because we share love, a child, a home, and family ties. It makes us feel like we are truly close. A person driven by passion lives for their own happiness, and everything around them exists only because it brings them joy. When a person thinks, I want to live for myself and my loved ones, they still put themselves first. Someone who doesn't practice spirituality can hardly live for others. They always live only for themselves. Remember, this is crucial to understand. Now let's move on. What is human life? It means that at some point you will face a tough fate. What is a tough fate? It's when you stop being soft and pleasant and become slippery and unpleasant. Like how a bunny and a frog talk to each other. The frog says to the bunny, I'm also soft and fluffy, but I'm sick right now, so I've become slippery and unpleasant. People are the same. They're kind and gentle only when life is good. But when life gets tough, they become slippery and unpleasant. So what should I do with him? I'm a young, beautiful girl, and this slippery, unpleasant person is lying there demanding care from me, and I'm not even his wife yet. Understand, this is life. Sometimes people are attractive, sometimes they're not. When someone lives in passion, this idea can take root in their heart. If a loved one no longer brings joy, something must be wrong. Yet they're still your family, your children, your relatives. Nothing has changed, except one thing. You no longer feel happiness. You no longer enjoy family life. So what happens next? A person in passion thinks, I can't live without happiness, I need it. They constantly chase happiness. A man's desire for happiness builds up in his heart. And do you know what happens then? He starts sending signals to other women. Sos, I need a woman, I need a woman. And single women, they're like antennas. They walk around searching. Where is it? So you shouldn't respond to this signal with a smile. And so he finds his happiness. He comes to his wife and says, we've been together for 10 years. Thank you. We have children. I'm grateful to you. But now I've realized that I've truly fallen in love. What we had wasn't real. 10 years, a family, children, and it was all not real? Raise your hand if you've experienced this. This is life in passion. It's not about having a bad partner. It's about a wrong life concept. Remember, in a life in pure goodness, no one leaves. Because for a close person not to leave you, you need to live with conscience. Living with conscience means not living for children, a car, or an apartment, but for God. It means praying every day, reading the scriptures, and repenting for your actions. This is what life is. But just saving money, that's not life. Badgers also save. All animals live this way. They create families, build homes, and store food. But they don't have love. Even cockroaches have families, but they lack brains, yet they live just like us. Maybe we should think that our life should be different from guinea pigs, cockroaches. We are humans after all. Human life has a completely different nature. It is a life in pure goodness. This means that people focus on God. They pray. They try to open their hearts to elders. They strive to learn how to live the right way. They aim to build pure, sincere relationships. They seek to raise exalted children, not just ones who are cool, because an exalted person can also become successful. When a person has good character qualities, they are truly fortunate. Let's say you send your child to university. What do they actually learn there? They are taught management, given English lessons. They may learn how to present themselves well, but can they actually work? Do universities teach how to work? No. What does it mean to work? It means to love labor. A man needs about 3 years just to develop a love for work. Otherwise, no one will hire him. Why would they if he doesn't want to work? Or take honesty, for example. If there's an opportunity, bam, he takes something that isn't his. Why? Because no one taught him that dishonesty will eventually lead to failure. At first, it may seem like everything is fine, but in the end, a dishonest person's life always falls apart. No one teaches the most important lessons. What should I do in life, and how should I live? Or take this situation, I can't live with this person anymore. But have you ever tried to cleanse your heart in that relationship? Imagine walking around, never brushing your teeth, and then saying, my breath stinks. Now imagine going to the dentist and saying, pull out all my teeth, I can't take this smell anymore. You wouldn't think like that, would you? And when there's a stench coming from a relationship, it's the same thing. Just like teeth, relationships need to be cleaned every day, because relationships with loved ones become polluted, because they are selfish by nature. So what is life? You need to figure this out. If you haven't, then chances are you won't be able to build a strong family. In life, you must learn to love and to forgive. He cheated on me, what should I do? Learn to forgive and give yourself completely. But to whom? Your son? Your husband? No, to God. If you give yourself to your son, he may become arrogant. If you give yourself to your husband, he may become arrogant. But if you give yourself completely to God, he will give you strength, wisdom, courage, and the ability to overcome fate. You will receive much from him, and you will never become arrogant yourself. A person who dedicates themselves to God remains humble, no matter how powerful they become. The sign of a true believer is that conscience is the foundation of their life. That's why we must cultivate goodness at home. Look at the environment. You enter an apartment and there are cats and dogs everywhere, a terrible smell, drunkenness, empty bottles. It's a degraded atmosphere. Spirits dwell in such a place. And along with those spirits come bad habits, cursing, drinking, fighting, immorality, and so on. Now imagine another home. Everything is about appearances, luxury renovations, flashy status symbols, big blue TV screens everywhere, pop music blasting, money, money, money. All this gets into the children's minds. A man speaking with a woman's voice, excellent. The most important thing is to understand what the lyrics mean. And the translation is, go away, my baby, goodbye. If you ever remember me, I will be happy. That's the whole song. And is this what we are teaching our children? All this energy is passed on to them. But what if spiritual music played instead? Do you know that when prayers fill a home, fate is overcome instantly? If you are facing hardships, for example, if someone is sick, play spiritual music. It will help them recover because they will draw strength from it. Why all the showing off, the fancy clothes? It's just a certain mindset focused on external appearances. People pretend to be something they're not, trying to impress others. There are 3 levels of existence. The first is ignorance. When people live in an ignorant environment, they develop their own language, slang, prison jargon. Some have also started using slang now for no clear reason. Prison slang is for those living in degradation. They have their own crude proverbs. They have their own ideas of friendship, their own sayings and songs. This entire culture is the ignorant layer of life. One shouldn't live in it. What is the passionate layer of life? People don't seek love, conscience, or purity. They chase success. And what kind of success is that? It's all about appearance, clothes, behavior. Do you think this is something new? Pushkin wrote about this long ago, dressed like a London dandy, and finally saw the light, the same desire. The story describes their wardrobe, French perfumes. Nothing has changed. This is the energy of passion. It remains unchanged for centuries. Everything is as it was. It leads to a superficial mindset. People become shallow, seeing only the surface of life. To them, if someone dresses simply, they're an outsider. God forbid someone engages in spiritual practice. They call it a cult. People in ignorance have a narrow mindset. Live like everyone else, drink a little, eat a little meat. That's fine. Everything in moderation is good. If you change even a little, start praying. What are you doing? Dr. Torsunov's lectures? That's a cult. This is just a limited mind. People fear any change, up or down. This is life in passion. Live like everyone else, do what everyone else does, step aside even a little. It's scary. Vegetarianism? No way. That's starvation, they say. What's starvation? People fear anything that changes their mindset. Pray a little more, even within your own faith, and they say, why? Stop it. Just live normally. Why stress yourself? Why wake up so early? Why do you keep listening to these lectures? What if they pull you into something? They fear everything because their minds are static, unmoving. They don't want to change or improve themselves. Life in passion shapes the mind in a certain way. When it comes to self-esteem in passion, a person's self-esteem rises. They feel proud and push forward. They live in a rush, always thinking about the future. The passionate way of life is about chasing happiness, and that means happiness is always in the future, never in the present. This is the mindset. The best song is yet to be sung. The best girl, where are you? Meanwhile, his wife sits beside him. The best is yet to come. The best is yet to come. Dreaming is the foundation of a passionate person's life. He always dreams. He thinks tomorrow will be better than yesterday. Right now things are bad, but the best girl, where are you? The best song is yet to be sung. A person living in passion has their mind set on the future. That's why they can't find fulfillment in the present. They just keep spending their energy, always living for tomorrow. They take a mortgage for 10 years, putting themselves in financial slavery for a decade. That means they will only relax in 10 years. For now, they just have to work to keep feeding bank employees. They end up paying twice as much for their apartment as fate intended, just because they don't understand the true values of life. The real treasures in life are love for your close ones, spiritual practice, and connection with nature. If you're working yourself to death, you have no time to enjoy nature, no time for a simple walk. As the song says, to wander in the fields without worries through the deep blue silence of cornflowers. But if you have a mortgage to pay off, say goodbye to those fields. It's a certain way of thinking, and people get exhausted. When will this mortgage end? I wish I had never bought this apartment. Because an apartment doesn't bring happiness. There's an old Vedic parable called Buy a Goat. A man went to a wise mentor and said, listen, I have a big family. We live in a tiny space. My wife is fed up. She says, if you don't find a bigger place, I'll either strangle myself or leave you. I can't live like this anymore. He was desperate. I don't know what to do. My wife insists we take out a mortgage. But back in ancient times, there were no mortgages. I need a solution. I just don't know what it is. The sage said, all right, but will you follow my advice? Some of it may not make sense to you. I'll do anything, the man replied. Then go buy a goat. But we barely have any money. Buy a goat anyway. The man returned home. His wife respected elders, so when he told her, we need to buy a goat, it will make things easier, she simply said, all right, if we must, we must. So they bought a goat. Afterward, the man came back to his mentor. Where is the goat supposed to live? Bring it inside your home, the sage replied. Let it live with you. And so the goat moved in. It butted people, made a mess, bleated constantly. No one could eat or sleep. The stench was unbearable. After 2 weeks, the wife had had enough. I can't live like this anymore. Get rid of the goat. Go back to the mentor. He needs to give us another solution. Exhausted, the man returned to the sage. Are you serious? Our life was already hard, and now the goat has made it unbearable. The sage calmly replied, everything is going according to plan. Now take the goat outside and tie it up near your house. Let it live there. The man did as he was told. That night the whole family sighed in relief. Oh, what a joy! Life is so much better without the goat. For 2 weeks everyone was happy. Then one day the wife asked, "So, when are we going to get a bigger place?" The man ran back to the mentor. "What do I do now?" The sage smiled and said, "Everything is fine. If she asks again, bring the goat back inside." And so they lived happily. Humans are never satisfied, they always want more. A woman always wants a bigger home. A man always wants a better woman. It's endless. It never stops. A man's mind will always be tempted by the idea of having a better woman. Always. This thought will never leave him. A woman will never be fully satisfied with the comfort she has. She will always want more, and this cycle goes on forever. A person must learn to control these desires. Only then will they have free time. Because for every 10 square meters of extra living space, you'll have to work for 5 years. Think about that. What are you really trading your life for? Life is meant for nature, for beauty, for love, for prayer, for purity, for relationships, but people have exchanged their lives for extra square meters and are working themselves to death. And as a result, they become ill, because this concept of living in passion, always focused on the future, seems like real life to them. Why do people get divorced? Because they get tired of this kind of life. They start arguing, getting anxious. Let's say I start working. Why do I work? To love everyone? To bring joy to others through my labor? No. I work to get paid, meaning I work for the future. That means I'm waiting for what? The end of my work shift. Then work is over. I go to the bus stop. Waiting for what? The tram. I stare at it as if trying to pull it closer. Still waiting. I get on the tram. What am I waiting for now? To get home. Then I get home, right? Do you think I'll now switch to a peaceful existence? That I'll stop waiting for something and just be happy at home? No. I'll sit down to watch a movie because I need to keep waiting. I can't stop now. I need to wait for the moment when the characters win. And so I watch the movie. All dramatic films are designed around anticipation. The viewer just keeps waiting. During the movie, what is he waiting for? The victory. Since he can't win in real life, because true victory means overcoming himself, he waits for the victory on the screen. He can't even fall asleep without it. You understand? A life driven by passion means going to bed late, waking up late, overeating at night, working to exhaustion. All of this ruins one's health. Besides, we need to understand that people in this state can no longer draw energy from nature. How do such people live? They live in a rush. That means they don't see the purity and beauty of the world. They don't replenish themselves. By definition, they cannot be healthy or happy. This means they exhaust themselves to the point of separation, and in the end, divorce. So, my dear ones, this is what life in passion looks like. How do people feel? Their minds are focused on external achievements, getting a fridge, a car, an apartment. You understand? Their minds are not focused on purifying the heart, on learning patience, on forgiving each other, but that takes strength. So what builds up between them instead? At first they start their life together, the honeymoon phase, they enjoy each other, all is well. Then fate steps in, problems start to appear. Something comes out in one person, something comes out in me. We start to ruin each other's lives. Why? Because we're not used to cleansing our hearts, praying, asking for forgiveness, forgiving, or being patient. A person driven by passion demands happiness for themselves. Their life philosophy is, give me more, give me more. He demands from his wife, she demands from him. Arguments start, each wants something for themselves, but they keep living together. They hold on to their resentments and disappointments. It all builds up, but the heart isn't cleansed because there's no time. We're busy working. We need an apartment, a car. Then what happens? They get exhausted from this kind of life. The fatigue piles up. What's next? They start feeling disgusted with each other, even resentful. They begin to think, maybe I made the wrong choice. This isn't my true love. Living with this person feels unbearable. And then what? As the song goes, goodbye, my love, goodbye. This is the result of a life lived the wrong way, because priorities are upside down. Is having an apartment a value? Yes. A car? A value? A salary? A value? But these are not the things worth sacrificing everything for. These things come naturally to those who live the right way, because there are greater values. When a person purifies their heart, builds relationships with nature, with good people, with God, they become better, stronger, healthier, wiser, and more radiant. As a result, they grow in every aspect. Their social status improves, they become wiser, they attract good people, they build strong relationships, and their network expands. This leads to better work opportunities. As relationships improve, they meet the right people, form a great team, and their business starts thriving because they grow as individuals. People trust them because they are the kind of person worth trusting, someone who has truly evolved. That's how it works. And what about children in such an environment? How does a child's mind work? A child naturally seeks something bright and meaningful in life. Or they just waste time. If someone hasn't found purpose in life, they'll just goof around, acting out. Take a small child, for example. If they're not engaged in something, what do? They whine, they scream. You understand? The same goes for teenagers. People ask me, why do kids fall into bad company? Because family life isn't guided in the right direction. If a family lacks a pure, meaningful way of living, where people go to the temple, think about God, read inspiring books, discuss them, exercise, and live a clean, positive life, then their minds stay pure, their perception of the world stays pure, and their children naturally follow the same path. If a child isn't striving for something bright and meaningful, they start wasting time, getting drawn into certain youth subcultures, and developing a sense of rejection toward everything. They begin piercing their noses, styling their hair into mohawks, painting themselves like warriors, and walking around like that. Their whole appearance reflects their inner dissatisfaction with the world. Then some of them go further, decorating themselves with strange symbols, even harming themselves. Why? Because their parents never gave them a sense of purpose. Their life has no direction. And then comes the question, why even live like this? Life in passion is not attractive, there is no depth in it. The only goal in such a life is success, that's it. But life has two sides, success and failure. Success often comes naturally, but failure is not accounted for in this kind of life. Look at movies, they always glorify success. They don't show failure, but what happens when someone fails in a superficial life? They lose their beauty, their job, their money, and then society turns its back on them. They are no longer valued, no longer needed. This is especially true in materialistic cultures. Take America, for example. People there have an intense fear of illness. Why? Because they become completely useless to anyone. If you get sick, you're out. You're fired because you're no longer efficient. No one needs you anymore. There are no deep, meaningful relationships. But is this what life is truly about? From childhood, people absorb a different idea of life. But we are more than that. We are souls. Do you understand? Deep inside, we are pure. Every person carries purity within them. They are made of truth, tenderness, kindness, determination, courage, wisdom, and much more. These are the qualities of the soul. We are like that, but we simply don't realize it. Instead of focusing on inner qualities, we chase external achievements, things that won't stay with us for long. We won't take our apartment or car into the next life. Everything stays here. And when we are born again, we won't even remember any of it. It will all be forgotten. Of course, if you work on yourself and study these things, you can start remembering. I began recalling where I had been before. It's fascinating. But why don't most people remember? Because, my dear ones, it would be unsettling. In the end, all of this is meaningless. Everything we chase is temporary. We should strive for real values because true wisdom is never lost. Honesty stays with a person forever. Humility, kindness, the ability to love, to give, to have faith, these qualities are indestructible. This is what we should invest in. How much are you capable of serving and caring for others? How strong is your inner discipline? How much can you overcome your fate? If a person can't even step outside for a morning run, they can't be healthy, not in this life nor in the next. That means the next life will also be short. How do we shorten our own lives? No connection with nature, no movement outdoors, no fasting, no exercise, no yoga, no running. That means life won't last long. Because the energy of aging builds up in the body. What is aging energy? Tension, excessive heat, excess weight. It manifests differently in everyone. Tension turns into muscle spasms, headaches, stomach pain, constipation, and so on. Joint pain, that's built-up tension. Excess heat leads to inflammation, ulcers, skin diseases, severe allergies, diabetes, all results of accumulated heat. Excess weight leads to benign tumors, cysts, and eventually malignant tumors. These three energies destroy us every second, so how do we fight them? There are three powerful forces that counteract them. The first is prolonged, joyful movement in nature. Consistent, happy movement. Today I ran 5.5 kilometers. That's just a warm-up. I usually run 16, just to have enough energy for my lectures. I ran in nature, feeling joy, absorbing its energy. Then I went for a swim. That's it. I feel alive, full of strength. And some may say, well, that's easy for you. But what's stopping you? Go for a run. You can do it too. Nature is right there. I was just running around my house. There are trees growing there. That's nature too. When a person moves for a long time and then holds a still position, whether through yoga or just standing still during services, it helps release tension. Tension and all spasms will go away. Headaches, high blood pressure, back pain, joint pain, intestinal pain, constipation, swollen veins. It's all tension in the body, even hemorrhoids. All of it comes from tension. It goes away through long, steady running. No need to push yourself too hard. You can run calmly and joyfully, even slower than people walk. But it has to be running. Just keep running and listen to a lecture while you do it. It's great to combine running with listening to a lecture. Static exercises work well with prayer. When a person stays still and prays, they overcome fate much faster. Holding a still position greatly enhances focus during prayer. As a result, deep-seated tension first surfaces. If a joint was hurting, it may hurt even more when you start running. But then it disappears completely. It doesn't hurt at all anymore. That's it. The illness is gone. Then you move on to the next issue and the next. In a year or two, all illnesses can be healed. At first, the pain comes not during running, but after. Run, it hurts. Run again, it hurts. Keep running, it hurts. But after a month, the pain is completely gone. That's it. Then another issue may come up. When I started running, my right knee began to hurt. People told me, your joints are wearing out, you'll be disabled soon. But that's the wrong mindset. I kept running for 4 months. My knee would hurt after running, but then it stopped. Then my right hip joint started hurting. After running, I walked like I was on crutches. 3 months later, the pain was gone. Then the left one started hurting, then the left knee, then the ankle, then my whole spine, my head, my heart. But now, when I run, nothing hurts. Now I run 16 kilometers like a horse and nothing hurts at all. I'm 53 years old. A woman in Tallinn came up to me and said, Dr. Torsunov, should I run too? My joints are bad, all of them. I can't even walk fast. I asked, how can you walk? She said, slowly. I told her, walk slowly, but for a long time. And after that, when you stop, your joints will hurt a lot. Wait for the pain to pass, then walk again, slowly, and for a long time. Do this every day. If you walk a lot, do it every other day. For example, if you walk more than 6 or 7 kilometers, take a break every other day. If it's more than 15 kilometers, walk once every 4 or 5 days. Once you walk a lot, about 15 kilometers, you can slowly start running. She healed all her joints. She walked like that for about a year. My uncle has had a sick spine all his life, suffering from joint pain. I told him, you need to run. He said, I can't. It hurts. I said, at least try walking. So he started walking around the church. 10 kilometers a day. Everything went away. Now after some time, he started walking faster. He's almost running already. I think he'll be running soon. Walking around the church has normalized his blood pressure. Every time he walks, his blood pressure stabilizes. If he doesn't walk, the pressure builds up again. Tension from daily life accumulates. So tension is relieved through prolonged movement and a still body posture. Next is heat in the body. What is heat? It's weakness, fatigue, digestive issues, rapid weight loss, and an inability to sleep. Insomnia often comes from excess heat, sometimes from tension. This includes diabetes, bronchial asthma, severe allergies, skin diseases, loss of appetite, internal pain, stomach ulcers, and duodenal ulcers. All of this is due to excess heat, the energy of heat. How is it treated? Water fasting, only water, just drink water, nothing else, plus static exercises. A still body posture cools the body from the inside. A water fast can last up to 2.5 days, no longer. In this time, the mind and body undergo a complete cleanse. Stop eating in the evening, then eat again after 2 days in the morning. A 2.5-day fast once a month or every 3 weeks is enough. And standing still for up to 1 hour and 20 minutes, 1 hour and 20 to 40 minutes. After 1 hour and 40 minutes, the body is completely cleansed. If you do a long fast and stand still for 1 hour and 40 minutes, you must also start running, because 2 practices without the third can also harm the body. For excess weight or tumor growth, continuous movement and fasting. When I started running, I ran 7 kilometers but didn't lose any weight. I eat only at lunch every day. I fast in the morning when the sun rises. The best time to fast is in the morning. When the sun rises, all toxins burn away. Everything unnecessary disappears with the sunrise. Activities like running, yoga, and prayer should be done at sunrise, because this cleanses the body. After noon, the body's cleansing process slows down. When I started running and reached 9 kilometers, I noticed my weight dropping. I lost 7 kilograms and that was it. My weight stabilized. Now I run 16 kilometers and don't lose any more weight. I feel great. This is my ideal weight now. My body has reached its natural balance. I feel good. The body returns to balance, becoming healthy and full of life. After a certain amount of movement, the body starts losing weight quickly, first burning fat, then gradually targeting tumors. First, the excess weight is burned off, then benign tumors slowly shrink, followed by even the most serious malignant ones. When a person runs regularly and fasts, there's simply no chance of getting cancer. None. Cancer means an accumulation of harmful substances in the body, which can be burned away through movement. That's the path to a long life. I've noticed that regular body cleansing extends active longevity. I study this on my own body. When I run, I can see how it extends my life. I can even predict its effect on my future. For me, after running 16 kilometers, I can say my active lifespan is usually 64 years. At 64, natural aging would begin. But after a 16-kilometer run, natural aging doesn't start at 64, it shifts to 86. One 16-kilometer run adds 22 years to my active lifespan. Then I need to do the same run again after 6 days. In those 6 days, the body gradually returns to that 64-year point. Then I extend it again. With each run, the quality of life between 64 and 86 improves. Life keeps getting better. Even with constant flights, in a year, I travel around the globe 1.5 times. My health is good, I don't get sick. It's thanks to this lifestyle. You don't even fly anywhere, and still you can barely walk, feeling miserable. My dear ones, everything is in your hands. I'm simply telling you how to live the right way. This life concept, it's higher. You need to change your mindset. When a person is only focused on a flat, a car, know this thinking will eventually destroy the family. It's the wrong mindset. This is not what a person really needs. What we need are deep relationships, repentance, patience with loved ones, humility, forgiveness, trying to build true connection, to understand and love each other. This is what life is truly for. We must learn to believe in God, learn to pray, to overcome destiny, raise our children with purity and light. That's what we should live for, not to exhaust ourselves working all day. Yes, food and shelter are necessary, but life has a higher purpose: prayer, God, and righteous living. There are important goals in life, but the ultimate goal is God. There are essential goals in life. What are they? Health. What I told you earlier, these are healing practices and personal growth. The vital goal, young lady, do you hear me? You just spoke to me about prioritizing goals. There is the highest purpose in life. It's the most important one, even above children or anything else. Then come vital goals. Health is one of them. Another vital goal is education, especially spiritual or moral education, not just what you get in school or college, like what you're listening to now. You say, Dr. Torsunov, I can't live without this. I listen to lectures day and night. That's because it's vital. It's very important to understand how to live the right way. It's extremely important for a person. These are vital goals: health, knowledge, and moral responsibility. To live with a clear conscience, that's a vital part of life. To be faithful, to raise honest children, to live your life with integrity, these are vital things. If you don't live honestly, life itself loses meaning. Next come important goals in life. Important goals include things like a house, a car, money, power, success. Yes, they are important, but not essential, and definitely not the highest purpose in life. Then there are secondary goals, like buying things, cleaning up the house. These are also goals, but they're not as important. And when someone mixes up their priorities, for example, puts owning a flat above everything, they work 3 jobs, don't pray, ignore their health, then life starts to fall apart, like a house of cards. Just because they got their goals wrong, that's all. A girl might think, money is my top priority, I don't need a family. Fine, but for how long? At 30, she decides to get married, but she's not as attractive anymore. At 18, a girl is full of influence, beautiful, strong, full of inner beauty. It's much easier to find a good partner. The older she gets, the harder it becomes. And giving birth at 18 is so easy, like rapid fire. A young woman's body is soft and flexible, but at 35 it's already harder to give birth. At 45 it's even more difficult. And at 55 it's all over. Everything in its own time. A woman should first start a family, have children, then she can pursue whatever she wants, education, career. Once the kids grow a bit, she's free to choose. But first, family and motherhood. That should come first. And for a man, it's good to first develop himself and get an education. But for anyone, man or woman, the first thing is to stay healthy and learn to pray. That's the most important. While I was giving a lecture in Riga, people asked me, "What should we do?" One of the listeners replied, "What do you mean, what to do? It's clear. Dr. Torsunov has said it 100 times. Pray and run." I said, "Well done, excellent, you've got the point." This is what a life in goodness looks like. The true values of life are to love, to see the beauty of this world, to absorb it, to become healthy, strong, and capable of overcoming your fate, to give to your loved ones, to find joy in them, to serve them, to see the depth, the purity, and the vastness of this world. This is real happiness, not working yourself to death because of some small needs. Turn your mind in this direction. Life will immediately feel lighter, right away, because we are suffocating from our wrong desires. That's why we suffer. What is ordinary life? It's when a person rises above their own interests, their hurt feelings and personal desires, and starts to forgive, to ask for forgiveness, and lives with dedication in relationships. Regardless of what has happened to them, no matter how hard or painful it was, they simply find joy in people, forgives, ask for forgiveness, and love. This is what we need to do now. What you just heard, that's the goal. You need to become like that. Love nature, people, and God, and be happy. Your eyes should be clear, like a falcon's. You understand? We must aim for this, put in the effort, and you'll see, everything will work out. If someone doesn't understand you, it's okay. Understanding comes with time. Kindness helps people understand. If you accept your loved one and treat them with kindness, your wisdom quietly flows from your heart into theirs. I have accepted all of you as you are, and that's why knowledge flows to you. If I don't accept it, it won't. Why wouldn't I accept? Because someone might be unpleasant, but I still need to embrace and accept you anyway. No matter what you said to me earlier, it doesn't matter. There are no bad people, just people at different stages of development, you understand? And you cannot change a person's stage of development. From the point of view of how people see the world, there are many stages of development. For example, some see the world as nothing more than a combination of material elements. These people are called atheists. How do they view the world and build relationships? According to their beliefs. If we live only once and there is no soul, then just drink, party, have fun, enjoy life, because it will end, and that's it. Nothing follows. So live however you want. Why worry? Why sacrifice your life for anyone? If you only live once, then enjoy it. That's atheism. No conscience. Life is just a mix of nerve impulses. Life is just proteins reacting. There is no conscience. It's just a conditioned reflex. According to this philosophy, even conscience is a complex reaction. Love is also just a complex reflex. Just enjoy life. There is no God, no conscience, no higher purpose, and no next life either. We'll all die, and that's the end, nothing more. The next concept is called moral atheism. Still atheism, no God, but there is a belief in a bright future. That's the next view of life, you understand? No God, but a bright future awaits. To reach it, you must live properly, preserve families, love your homeland, love kindness, love your country, and be ready to give your life for it. All this is for the bright future of our children. We live for them. They will carry on our lives. We will live through them. Sounds better, right? But again, no next life and nothing beyond. Just the bright future of our kids. So give your life to them so they can live happily. Not bad either, right? Then comes another concept of life, but we don't even have that now. It existed during the Soviet Union, moral atheism. Just imagine the songs they sang back then. They were songs without God, but still full of purity and light, you know. The next concept after that is ritual theism. Ritual theism means we believe in God. We believe in God, but what's the purpose of life? To live for yourself, but ask things from God. For example, if you didn't go to the temple, why didn't you go? Sinner. Didn't ask God for anything? Sinner. Go and pray for your relatives. What does pray for them mean? It means light a candle so someone else can pray. This is called ritual theism, just going to the temple without really knowing why. Some people think they should constantly ask God for everything, keep begging Him to give something, keep reminding Him about themselves. Of course, ritual theism also teaches us to live by conscience, to live honestly, care for your family, follow fasts, celebrate holidays. In other words, observe certain disciplines and rituals, and you'll be happy. And that's true. Because if a person observes these practices, turns to God in difficult times, their life will be better than if they turn to no one at all. You understand? But there's a higher level. It's called theism, true theism. That's when a person realizes God doesn't exist to serve us so we can be happy, but we exist to serve Him. That means I don't go to the temple just to check a box like, I'm a good person, now give me a car. I've been going to the temple, so why is my life still hard? I do everything, I even donate money. Now give me happiness, health, a car, a husband. What's the problem? True theism means coming to the temple to give yourself to God. And when you do that, your entire outlook changes. You stop demanding from life and start giving. You begin to serve God, to serve people. You start to understand what it truly means to forgive. Like if your husband left you with the kids and now you're raising them alone, you can actually forgive him. It is possible. And if you do, God may bring someone even better into your life. Your life isn't over. You can forgive. You can be happy, even if life is hard. Even in the most painful, hopeless situations, you can still be a fulfilled, happy person. That happiness comes from nature, from kind people, and from God. Let me tell you a story about a woman with 4 kids. I know a woman whose husband left her. She was left completely alone with 4 small children. She couldn't work. All her time was taken up by the kids. How can you work with 4 little children? It's just not possible. There was no one to help her. Her relatives couldn't help either. That was her situation. But she has such a big heart. She genuinely loves people. She's kind, joyful, full of life. She's always caring for someone, always on the phone, helping one person, then another, constantly doing something for others. One day she calls me and says, "Hey, I know someone who's sick. We need to help him." I said, "Who's going to pay for his treatment?" She says, "Don't worry, Dr. Torsunov, we'll raise the money." I was like, wow. Then I asked, "But how are you living?" She said, "Honestly, I don't think about that. Everything's fine." I said, "What do you mean fine? How do you feed your kids?" She said, "People always bring something. This person helps, that person helps." She doesn't worry about money at all. You understand? She's always caring for others, and others always help her in return. That's a real person. She doesn't think about her problems. In her mind, there are no problems. The kids are fine. Everything is good. She's just full of optimism. That's the right kind of mindset. You understand? My spiritual teacher travels around the world twice as much as I do. He only has 2 sets of clothes. He is a renounced person, no property, no possessions, nothing at all. He just helps people. He is a religious man and serves his spiritual community. He plans his trips for the whole year, around 100 flights annually, many of them international. Each flight costs a lot, around $300 to $400. Multiply that by 100. Multiply $300 by 100. How much is that? $30,000. Not a small amount, right? Especially for someone who owns nothing. He plans all this carefully, and when he travels, people donate even more. People donate so much that he builds temples with that money. You understand? There's absolutely no problem with money. God gives more than you can imagine. When he came to our country, he asked me to collect the donations, count them, and give them to him. I gave him a stack of money, already exchanged into dollars. He just took it and put it away. I said, "Please count it. Here's the donation report." He replied, "Are you joking with me?" I said, "What if I took some money or stole something?" He looked at me and said, "Did you steal the money? What's going on in your head?" I said, "Well, what if I did?" He replied, "So what? If you stole, that's your problem, not mine. God will punish you." I said, "Got it, okay." I didn't talk about it anymore. He just took the money and didn't even count it. Can you imagine such a mindset? And then he gives all of it away. It reminds me of a Christian joke about this. It's called Eastern Bank. A man comes to the Eastern Bank and says, "Please give me a loan." They give him the loan immediately. He asks, "Do I need a passport or anything?" "No, nothing is needed. Just take it." Then he says, "And what if I don't repay it?" "What do you mean you won't? Your conscience will trouble you." Conscience before whom? Before God. And when will it trouble me? When you stand before him, then it will. And when will I stand before him? When is your repayment date? On the 25th. So if you don't pay by the 25th, you'll face him on the 26th. That's the Eastern Bank. It's all simple there. In real life, it's more complicated than in the Eastern Bank. So let's say a loved one left you. It just means you were not living the right way. You see, when people live with God and follow their conscience, there is no betrayal there. At a certain stage in a relationship, there's simply no thought of betrayal. You just don't want to, you know? You see the person with such purity, such light, and you think, Lord, thank you for giving me this person and that I get to live with them. There's no need to cheat because the love is pure and radiant. A feeling arises between the two that no casual sex can replace. It just doesn't compare. You understand? Where else would you find someone like that? Are they just lying on the side of the road? Relationships become completely different, completely pure. This is called living in goodness, and it's something we should strive for. You might say, but my partner could never be like that. You're mistaken. Anyone can be like that. Develop this within yourselves because your partner reflects your destiny. That person will begin to change. Everyone around me is changing. All my relatives, near and far, everything is changing. Everyone is taking steps toward a righteous life. Simply because I live righteously and pray, everything around me begins to shift. Everyone changes. Even old friends I haven't seen in years. Students I studied with, even classmates from school, they've started listening to these lectures and changing. This is happening through prayer. As a child, I lived in terrible conditions, a miserable existence, a truly ignorant family, textbook example, you know? That's where I come from. And from that, I started to grow, to work on myself. And I know for sure how this works. I have personal experience. What I'm telling you is not some kind of fantasy. It's what I've seen in my own life and the lives of my friends. Now I'm surrounded only by people who live in goodness, people who live with God, who have bright feelings and pure desires. Their families stay strong. There are 100 of us working together, and not a single family has broken up, not a single divorce. But those who leave our group, they often end up divorced. If they stop living the right way, divorce comes sooner or later. That's why in a life of goodness, those problems don't arise. You don't run into those kinds of difficulties. Just try to understand, it's the wrong way of living, life in the wrong layer of energy, wrong values, wrong understanding that leads to these outcomes. And when do they happen? They happen when a tough period in life begins. When your fate takes a turn for the worse, someone's health declines, or you simply stop loving or appreciating each other, just due to fate, the family falls apart. Why? Because a person in passion cannot live for someone else. You don't make me happy, goodbye, I need to be happy. I can't live like this, I need happiness. Sorry. Yes, I understand we have kids, but I can't live without happiness, I need to be happy. And where does he look for happiness? In external things. Not in the inner, let's never argue, but in the outer world. That's the root of the problem. We need to change the whole concept in our thinking. And how do we do that? I'll explain. Leo Tolstoy said, "In this world, things never happen the way we think they do. Real change doesn't start on the outside, it starts from within." It doesn't begin with the government or with the country becoming better, or laws changing, or even how children are raised. That's all superficial. Real change begins in the heart. You know, each of us lives in our own country. I have my own relationship with people, with authority, and those relationships are good, pure, bright, with everyone. Because that's how I live. Each person lives in their own conditions. My children are being raised properly despite the system. I made that happen for myself. And so can you, if you understand that you need it. It's not difficult. It's just a matter of how you think. That's all. What you truly need is what will manifest in your life. Everything begins with yourself. If you want to change a relative and say, he doesn't like that I don't eat meat, that I go to the temple, that I listen to lectures, he hates me for that. It means you were just like that in your past life. And now God is punishing you for that. This is just the very first stage of development. All of this will change. My own mother thought I was schizophrenic when I started working on myself. I was 18 at the time. She really thought I had gone crazy. She took me to a psychiatrist. I was diagnosed with schizophrenia. That diagnosis kept me from entering medical school, so I had to wait a year. Later, the diagnosis was removed. They figured out I wasn't actually schizophrenic. And the woman who made the diagnosis, in my opinion, was a bit schizophrenic herself. Well, at least that's what I think now, having become a candidate of medical sciences. I just started living differently, not like everyone else. Of course, it looked a little wild. At the institute, for example, I practiced cold training. I would pour ice-cold water over myself right before class. Then I'd go walking to the institute in my little black jacket. My hair would get covered in an icy crust because I didn't wear a hat. It was winter, and there I was, this strange person, walking into the institute. Of course, how did people treat me? I started praying, and through prayer I began to feel fate, to sense the future. Sometimes I'd give people advice. They began to be wary of me. Some people mocked me. One girl came up and asked, "How will my summer trip go during the break?" I said, "I don't want to tell you because afterward I'll look like a bad person." She insisted, tortured me for a whole hour. So I said, "Okay, if you drink alcohol during the trip, it will lead to your close friend dying from alcoholism, right in front of your eyes in your own apartment. And if you get carried away with speeding, there will be an accident and you'll break your leg, but you'll survive. Or your arm, there'll be some kind of fracture." She laughed and said, "You're totally crazy." Then when autumn came, we met again. She said, "Did you hypnotize me or something?" My friend died during a drinking party right in the apartment. And when we were driving around, we had an accident. I had fractures, but I'm okay now. After that, they started thinking I was connected to some dark forces. They were afraid of me, but some understood it in the right way. Many teachers came to me for advice on self-development, even teachers. They were learning how to live the right way. Over time, more such friends appeared. Later, in my 5th year of university, I started giving lectures. I was 24 years old when I began speaking on self-improvement. By then, I had already gained 10 years of experience. I had been working on myself since I was 14. Gradually, life began to change. Everything became different. My father was strongly against living a disciplined life. He used to say, "I will never quit drinking no matter how much you pray." I said, "We'll see." The battle began. I prayed, he drank. Then God gave him a disease that made drinking impossible. He would drink and then throw up. That was the end of alcohol for him. A year later, he sobered up and began to repent. He cried and said, "Thank you, son, for showing me the right path." He spent 3 years repenting before he passed away. Even if you don't want to change, God will make you. If your loved ones pray for you, you have no chance to stay in ignorance, no chance at all. When he passed away, I saw where they were trying to take him. I started praying for him, deeply and sincerely. And they couldn't drag him where they wanted anymore. God always responds to sincere prayers. Even if your loved one lived in complete ignorance, he still hears the prayers of those who care and forgives those who lived wrongly, simply because of heartfelt prayer. You understand? That's why you should learn to live rightly. This is the purpose of human life. Learn to live properly, and God will help you in everything. Even if your current situation seems unfair to you, it always comes from the past. If we acted wrongly in the past, God brings it back to us. But don't be afraid of it. Keep moving forward. Understand that all suffering that comes into your life is meant to help you grow. It's actually God's mercy. If there were no suffering, you wouldn't have come to these lectures. Knowledge is the most important thing a person can gain in life. It transforms everything. So seek true knowledge. Seek purity. Don't listen to those who are just trying to make money from you. If a lecturer is overexcited and pushing expensive consultations, he doesn't truly have knowledge, even if he knows something. True knowledge always comes from selflessness and purity. Impurity never holds true knowledge. Seek out priests and holy people who have dedicated their lives to God. Strive for faith and purity. There are people who live for God. There are many of them in this world. They are humble and don't show off. Look for such people in your life. You don't need to change your faith. Every faith that comes from sacred scriptures and has a spiritual tradition, it is all correct. Every genuine faith is right. We just don't know anything. Take Christianity, for example. We don't understand it. We don't know the depth of that faith. People nowadays know nothing. They treat everything superficially. People don't know Islam either. I have Muslim friends, very noble people, and Christian friends too. They tell me about their faith. We know nothing about any of this. We don't understand their relationship with saints, their spiritual efforts, their love for God. We don't see any of that. We only notice the surface. He did something wrong. And all of this ends up on the internet. As a result, we lose faith. We should seek purity, not filth. This world is already full of filth. If you want to change your personal life, change the people you surround yourself with. Don't listen to gossip or the news. They pollute your mind and drain your energy. Instead, seek pure knowledge. This is the kind of news we should study. A life of pure goodness begins with a change in consciousness. Then a person faces a challenge. They feel like they've fallen out of society. They start learning how to live the right way and suddenly realize, first, nobody around them lives like that. Second, they feel completely alone. And third, their loved ones don't understand them. They don't know what lies ahead. They're afraid because everyone seems to be against the way they want to live. That's a test. Then comes the next stage. They get used to this new way of living. They realize they're different, and they adapt. They understand they don't need to push their way of life onto others. They just quietly live the right way themselves and forgive those who live differently. That's the next stage. They begin to feel more at peace in their environment, and then comes change. Your loved ones, your friends, your family begin to transform under the light of your example. If you treat them kindly, every single one of them will start to change for the better. And over time, that influence keeps expanding. Do you understand? My cousin lives in Israel. We had never spoken in our lives. She started listening to my lectures without even knowing it was me. She just came across the lectures. They resonated with her, so she kept listening. Later, when she saw a video, she thought, "He kind of looks like Grandpa." She asked her father, "Who is this?" He said, "That's your cousin." And that's how we reconnected. Just recently, she messaged me again saying, "I've been listening to your lectures. I really like them. Thank you." Everything in life changes. Your loved ones begin to accept the right path. Everything changes. It will all come in time. But first, you must be tested. God tests how much you truly want to live a righteous life. He sends you trials in the form of misunderstanding from your loved ones, even aggression. Sometimes they become hostile, saying things like, "Cook this way for me, eat meat, drink with me, I'll fool around and so will you. That's what our family will be like. I've heard it all." Don't believe it, don't give in, be patient, forgive. In time, everything will change. Your inner strength will transform your whole life. Everything we see around us is the result of our past mistakes. Remember, nothing happens by chance in this world. Everything you see is the result of your own past actions. The violence and injustice you experience, you did the same in the past. I'm telling you this as a witness. I've started sensing this in people, their past lives. Everything comes back. There's a very serious pattern to everything. How does fate work? Fate has a powerful impact on a person. It doesn't ask whether you're good or bad, or whether you like it or not. Life events break us down, and they will keep doing so. Our job is to learn how to rise above it all. There are different ways to overcome fate. It's not just people who pray that succeed in doing so. Not necessarily. Let me explain. For instance, take someone who fasts, just doesn't eat. Any kind of healing practice helps build strength. Say someone doesn't eat, drinks only water. What kind of strength are they building? What do you think? Where does that strength show up? Intelligence. Any healing practice strengthens intelligence. Remember, the power of fasting is purity. When a person stops eating, they begin to see things more clearly. They start to get a clearer picture of what's really going on. If someone is confused in life, doesn't know what to do, what things mean, or how to move forward, it means their mind is clouded. Fasting is needed. It clears the mind. Everything starts making sense. It becomes clear what to do and how, who is who. Fasting purifies the mind. One's thinking becomes clear. Stationary position of the body helps a person endure their fate. For example, just standing without moving. This kind of discipline develops the ability to tolerate whatever life brings. To endure means you can handle things calmly. Nothing can break you. That's the power of the stationary position of the body. And when a person runs for a long time, just keeps moving, they develop strong willpower. At some point during the run, their mind shifts into a completely different rhythm of life. When I first started running 3.5 years ago, I felt like I was stuck inside a wooden sack. Running felt difficult. Life felt difficult. I realized everything in my life was heavy. I felt like I was all boiled inside. I kept running like that for about 8 months. Then one day I felt like I was pulled out of that sack, and running became easier. I felt light, free. I began to feel nature, to feel my body becoming light and free, as if something inside me had opened up. This is a shift in consciousness. Later I analyzed it and realized there are different levels of willpower in life. When a person performs healing practices, their inner state switches. Fasting changes a person's willpower level. Static exercises or running can change a person's inner state. A new way of living becomes possible. One becomes stronger as a person. Running gives you the ability to wake up early, for example, because your willpower becomes stronger. You can make yourself do things. Static exercises help you tolerate even living with an alcoholic. You live with them and you're okay. You don't get upset anymore if you practice stationary position of the body. Fasting gives a person the clarity to understand everything. what's right, what's wrong, what to do, what not to do. So healing practices give a person the strength to overcome fate, real strength. You may say, I'm just unlucky, Dr. Torsunov, nothing works out for me. Like in the song, there live unhappy people, wild and scary on the outside, kind on the inside. The crocodile won't bite, the coconut won't grow. This means there is no sacrifice in your life, no offering. Go to a temple, give a small donation to the poor. Don't be stingy. It's better to offer food than money. Money can be misused. One must know what to give. Go and offer a piece of bread if the person is truly hungry. If they're not, there's no need to be there at all. A person has the right to stand outside a temple and ask for donations only in 2 cases, only 2. If they are hungry or if they don't have clothes, to protect themselves from the cold. That's all. There are no other real needs. Shelter is a different issue. Anyone can find a place to stay, even a beggar, if they truly want to. If they don't need food or clothes and just say, give me money, it usually means the money will be used for alcohol. Of course, money is also needed, but experience shows if a person is not hungry, they are not really a beggar. You understand what I mean? If a person takes a piece of bread, carefully wraps it, and keeps it for later, it means they'll eat it later. But if they say, no, I need money, it means they want to drink. Don't give. Then your fate will not improve. Donations give you the chance to change your life for the better. See, we give a person what they need to survive, and you also need something to survive, but it's something different. Maybe you need a husband or children, and God will give you what you need if you give to someone who truly needs something. And it's best not to donate near a temple or at a train station, and especially not in the subway. The best place to donate is in your own neighborhood. If you live in an apartment building, find an elderly lady in need. When people are truly starving, they don't ask for anything, they just quietly suffer. If you see someone going through the trash, not an alcoholic, but a regular person, and they're doing it early in the morning or late at night, it means they need food. If you see them searching the trash, go closer and look. You can easily tell a homeless person from someone who's just struggling. If it's a decent person, they'll feel shy and leave right away, but a homeless person won't care, they'll keep rummaging. If it's a normal person, they'll say, sorry for acting this way. Ask where they live, go with them, see where they live, and then bring them food. God will give you everything you need in life. This is a guarantee. Donations make a person fortunate. They start receiving exactly what they need in life. A kind of power radiates from them, and they're immediately noticed by those who are meant to notice. They become an attractive person, a good person, a pleasant person. This is what we call donation. So what is a donation? It's any action that takes you out of your comfort zone. Selfless action is donation. Do something for others, forget about yourself, and God will definitely do something important for you. Do you understand how this works? Now listen, this is very important. There are many other things. People often say, I have no strength to exercise in the morning, to change my diet. I have no energy for anything. What should I do? The problem isn't a lack of strength, it's a lack of inspiration. And inspiration comes from the right kind of association. You say, Dr. Torsunov, please come visit. My dear ones, just look at each other. Look at each other. You're all wonderful people. So why don't you know one another? You need to connect with each other, talk, call one another, say, let's go for a morning run, or let's get up early and pray together. Help each other. It's not that Dr. Torsunov should help everyone. Just look how many of you there are. Get to know each other. We have a community called the Goodness Club. If you'd like, you can join. People connect there. No one will drag you anywhere. There's a rule. Everyone keeps their own faith. Learn together how to live the right way. Stay in touch. We have a group called Laws of a Happy Life. There are over 300,000 people in it. There are many uplifting groups on our website, torsunov.ru. Visit, communicate, and make new friends. Study how to live properly. If you don't do this, your light will go out. We get inspired by others when the friendship is true. Make friends with those who want to grow spiritually, and you will always feel inspired. When you simmer together in one frying pan, you absorb all its aromas. This is the secret. People living in passion work themselves to exhaustion together, and they have only 2 types of friendship. The first is weekend friendship. They go out into nature, eat some barbecue. The second is business friendship. But people in passion don't have heartfelt friendships. There's no friendship where they work on themselves together, open their hearts, grow, or believe in God together. That's why they're all unhappy, worn out by work and life. Even a husband and wife in passion don't have a deep connection. They don't have that kind of friendship where you can tell your partner everything. We're afraid. When living in passion, people are afraid to tell the truth about their life or destiny to even those closest to them. What if he doesn't understand and leaves? That kind of thinking is not right. We need to look for companions, people with whom we can share everything. Women should build friendships with women, and men with men. Trying to find a friend of the opposite sex is not a good idea. It usually leads to trouble. If you feel your fate is too heavy and life is difficult, then sit still early in the morning. Create any altar you like. An altar means a sacred image in front of you, a symbol that guides and inspires you. What kind of symbol? One that truly inspires you. Maybe you once sprinkled holy soil somewhere and it helped you. Place that soil on your altar because God acted through it. Or if you are inspired by the image or life story of a holy person, place their picture there. There are no limits. You can include images from different spiritual traditions. Because God is one, He allows people to understand Him through different spiritual traditions. In today's world, mature people understand that different paths of faith are all valid, and there's nothing wrong with that. Some believers may be very pure and sincere, but still don't understand what God truly wants. God reveals Himself differently to different people. People are all different. That's why their faiths differ, their moods in worship vary, and their spiritual relationships with God take many forms. One may want to dance for God, another may cry, and someone else may simply meditate for Him. Because people are different, God appears to them in different ways. Spiritually mature people respect each other's faiths. They can live together while following different traditions and still be happy. Even if they follow different spiritual paths, it's not a problem. I've told you, first love God. Only then can you truly love another person. If you put a person first, you won't be able to love God or that person, and life will fall apart. What is prayer? It is living through sound. Remember, when someone understands the power of sound, they understand everything in this world. It's a great secret. So how do we pray? You must join your voice with those who are praying. You must enter that shared prayer space. It is the space where fate can be overcome. It's important to understand there are two ways to overcome fate. One, to remember God during prayer and forget yourself completely. If you can do that, you don't need anyone else, but it's very difficult. Because when fate weighs heavily upon you, you'll be able to think of nothing else. As the poem says, amid the desolate plains, I thirst to forget betrayal and love, but memory, my cruel master, revives the past again. Don't hope to overcome a heavy fate by your own strength. That's why there is another way, group prayer. It is the main method for our time. Our memory of God is weak. Group prayer means joining those who are already praying, people who pray sincerely, not necessarily saints. Just ordinary people praying sincerely. When they pray, God enters their sound. When a person thinks of God and prays, God Himself enters their sound. And if we listen to their prayers, we enter a certain space of sound. This is a space where the intelligence is awakened and victory over fate becomes possible. It's known by different names in different spiritual traditions, but it is one and the same. In India, this space is called the space of Om, the sound that defeats fate. In China, they call it the space of Zen. Christians call it the space of God's grace. It's all the same. It is the space where sound merges with the heart and memory, where a person forgets themselves and simply sounds from the heart. The sound comes from deep within. We must learn to make such sound. It's hard to do because we're shy. We're afraid to speak from the heart. But we must learn to do it. This can be done in any spiritual tradition. You can listen to Muslim, Jewish, or Vedic prayer and chant along with the voices of holy people. It's best to listen to prayer in your own faith. Instead of repeating, I wish everyone happiness, it's better to repeat a prayer. The best prayers are short, either praise of God or a heartfelt call to Him. Don't ask for things for yourself. Of course, you can read longer prayers, psalms, namaz, that express our relationship with God. Through them, we speak to Him, connect with Him. But if your goal is to overcome fate, take prayer beads, sit still before an altar, listen to others praying, and repeat a short prayer with them. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Repeat it slowly. If you go too fast, the sound won't come from the heart, and it will lose its power. Repeat with deep feeling, hallelujah, hallelujah. Always keep in mind those who are praying with you. Gradually, this sound will become your support. It will give you strength, and a sense will grow in your heart that everything will be all right. When that feeling comes, your intelligence is activated. What is intelligence? It is the power that conquers fate. Its functions include inner courage, knowledge, determination, enthusiasm, the strength to overcome fate, to discipline oneself, to break harmful habits. Intelligence always depends on God. If there is memory of God, it lives. Without it, it fades. Some people don't understand God, but they recognize conscience. You can draw strength from elders and activate intelligence. A person may remember, "My father told me this, and I will live by it." Sacred objects we believe in can also awaken intelligence. A person should surround themselves with such objects, things that inspire prayer. The most important thing is to avoid mistakes in prayer. Always pray from the heart and never rush. At first, just listen to those who are praying. Repeat the way they do. Gradually, the sound will start to come from your own heart. When that happens, begin to chant from your heart. Listen to your own sound. But don't forget, there are people around you who are inspiring you. There are different stages of prayer. The first stage is connection. It's as if you're leaning on the strength of those who are already praying. The second stage is inner strength. You feel a deep joy while praying. Who among you felt joyful yesterday while repeating, "I wish everyone happiness"? That means you had entered the process. And who among you experienced the next stage, when it feels like the heart opens up? When the heart opens, it means you're coming into contact with your own destiny. The next stage is more difficult. Your memories start to torment you. They rise up from the heart with great force, and you forget that you are even praying. Who has experienced this, where you suddenly start remembering yourself intensely? In that moment, you must listen very attentively to those who are praying and overcome the pull of those memories. Learn to stay focused on the prayer of others and forget yourself. That's when you start overcoming your fate. Memories of yourself or your loved ones, how are they usually? Painful, very painful, but that pain will slowly start to ease. And the event that once seemed unbearable, something you couldn't even think about, it becomes calmer, more peaceful in your heart. Then suddenly it feels like everything is okay, like nothing bad will happen, even if someone is trying to put you in jail. Still you feel that nothing bad will happen. That's the first stage. The second stage is influence. It means you walk into the courtroom and everyone feels you're innocent. They try to justify you because such power radiates from you. That's the second stage of influence. Or imagine your husband who left you starts talking to you again. He begins to feel that you're actually a good person. This is the stage where relationships begin to restore. And then comes the third stage of prayer. His heart changes. Even the prosecutor's view begins to shift. You understand? Our destiny lies in our hands. This is stated in all the scriptures. But in order for that to be true, we must understand one essential truth. Each person has two destinies. Remember that too. One is made from our own desires and actions. In this one, you simply receive what you've earned. But the second destiny lies dormant. It is the mission, the purpose that God has given us in this life. And if a person doesn't want to think about God, doesn't want to serve or help others, this second destiny never awakens. It can remain asleep for an entire lifetime. That means you will have lived your life in vain, because it is only this second destiny, this mission of serving God, that is our true destiny. And when that destiny awakens, the first one burns away. When a person begins to live a righteous life, helping children, feeding the poor, sharing knowledge, whatever their true calling is, it doesn't matter what exactly it is, even raising your own children with love and values is also a divine mission. Once you understand your mission and begin to live for it, your former fate burns away, all obstacles fall away, and you begin to remember God again and again and again. We must understand that when a person lives for God, God expresses himself in two ways. The first is neutral. He gives you the fruits of your actions, nothing more. That's the first kind of life. You get exactly what you deserve. But the second kind of life is when you develop a personal relationship with God. Then God treats you differently. He forgives you, He is patient with you, He blesses you, not because you deserve it, but because you've understood the truth, that we must live for a higher purpose, and then your fate no longer troubles you. Even if they exist, they don't worry us as much as before. This is called divine protection. It means God begins to relate to you personally. The Vedas give an example. Imagine two workers at a factory. One of them is the son of the factory owner. The other is just a friend. They both misbehave and get fired. The owner is a principled man, so he even fires his own son. Later, both of them come back seeking forgiveness. The friend is told, "We'll see. We'll think about whether to take you back." But when the son apologizes, the father says, "Well done, my son. Come back. Everything will be all right for you. This is what it means to have a personal relationship with God. He is also impartial, it seems, but when a person takes the right path and has a personal relationship with God, everything in their life happens differently. They receive quickly what ordinary people take years to attain. When God sees that we are living for Him, for His sake, He begins to respond to us personally. He helps us directly. You understand? Here's another example. A saint urgently needed to speak with the king, but couldn't get access. So he stood outside the royal palace and began glorifying the king with beautiful poetry. As you know, there are always spies around. They immediately reported, "Your Majesty, there's a saint outside praising you in a brilliant way. A crowd has gathered. Everyone is listening. Maybe you should go out and hear it too." The king replied, "What is there to hear? I already know everything about myself. Let him praise me. It's his business." The saint continued glorifying for 2 days, but nothing happened. So he changed his approach. He began praising the queen instead. They reported to the king, "The saint has started speaking about your queen, and everything he's saying is so accurate." The king said, "Oh, now I must hear what he says about my wife." This story shows us that there's no direct path to God. Remember, if you want to reach God and serve Him, then serve His servants. The way to God is through them, not directly. We should offer prayers to saints. That's why I like this prayer. Hail Mary, full of grace. We are glorifying someone who serves God. The Mother of God is His servant, His close servant. There is a deep relationship there. What questions do you have for me? About today's lecture, go ahead.
What is your faith?
That is a personal matter. In my lectures, I don't talk about my own faith, my spiritual teacher, or my personal prayers. I don't do that because it is very unethical. See if I say something and you trust me, right? Then if your faith is different, doubts might arise. Maybe something is wrong with my faith. If Dr. Torsunov follows this, maybe I should change my faith. That's why I only give moral and ethical lectures. I don't share details of my spiritual life. It's not important for you. You have your own faith. If someone asks me, which faith should I follow? I say, stay with your own. If you don't have one, then keep searching. What other questions? Yes, please.
I'm taking notes. I wrote down, the intellect always relies on God, but I didn't catch everything. So does the intellect connect with the subjects we believe in? Then I wrote, the main thing is to repeat those who speak. The second point, listen to them and rely on them, speak joyfully. There were 4 steps. I noted 2. Could you tell me the third and fourth? What was the heading? I didn't write it down.
I can barely hear you. The sound isn't clear. The microphone isn't working properly.
The idea is that I'm taking notes on your lecture. What you said was, prayer is life in sound. How can one pray, turn on music, and dissolve in it? When a person prays, God enters through sound.
Yes.
That space overcomes fate. Then you talked about several stages. Apparently the stages of entering a prayerful state.
The first stage can be called support. You rely on those who are praying and feel power in that. The second stage is when the sound gradually enters your heart. You begin to feel inspiration there. At that point, you no longer lean on others. You rely on your own sound. It begins to come from your own heart. The next stage is when the heart opens. A person keeps praying and something inside awakens. Usually that distracts them from the prayer. At this point, faith starts to reveal itself. Then after the heart opens, at the 4th stage, all your thoughts and desires surface and flood the mind. You can't focus on prayer anymore. That's when you must listen to others who are praying, to overcome it. To overcome means to shift attention from yourself to those who are praying. Don't think of yourself, think of those who are praying. When you start to remember them and chant along, the memory of yourself begins to fade. That's the next stage, your personal victory over fate. You pray, the memory of yourself fades, and you begin to realize that the system works. The first result of this system is inner calm about something specific. For example, I'm no longer anxious about whether my husband will come back. I feel everything will be fine. I'm not worried about whether I'll get the job. I just know it will be okay. At this stage, a person starts becoming lucky. The next stage is influence subtle threads. We spoke about this yesterday. A person prays, and the thread starts to clear. Things improve with the boss. My relationship with my ex-husband improves. My relationship with my child improves. That means I can communicate with them. It doesn't bother me anymore. I feel at peace. I can talk to them calmly. These stages can take months. That means you might spend 6 months just reaching the first stage, then another 6 months for the second, and then for the third. So who among you prays and has experienced peace in the heart regarding something? That means the first stage is there. Who prays and feels an influence like you're able to communicate already? That means the second stage is there. And who has prayed and the husband came back? Raise your hand. Are there people like that here? There are. This is called faith. If someone goes through all three stages even once in their life, starting from zero and ending with the husband returning purely through prayer, this person will believe in God. That's guaranteed. And the next time trouble comes, they'll do the same thing, because this conviction will already be in their heart. They'll know the method. They'll know how to overcome fate. You can't take them off this path. Did you write it down? Good, well done. You're studying seriously. Your question about the lecture, young lady.
Hello, thank you for the interesting lecture. Could you please tell me how to make the right choice? I have one set of plans as a woman, but my 5-year-old daughter has completely different desires. Tell me, how can I understand what fate is telling me? How do I choose the right path so things don't get even worse?
What exactly is the choice between?
Between what I have planned and what my daughter feels.
What's the problem?
I'm planning to move to another place. Her father, from whom I'm separated, will stay here. I want to change the city, maybe even the country, and then she'll never be able to see him again. Do I have the right to do that?
You should pray and understand this. You're trying to shift the responsibility onto me. If I give you the wrong answer, you might say later, Dr. Torsunov gave me bad advice and ruined my life.
What method should I use? I get it.
See, it all started because you couldn't handle your family situation. You broke the roof over your daughter's head. She had 2 parts of that roof, her mother and father. Now the 2 halves are separated, and you want to move them even further apart. And your daughter is saying, Mom, leave me my half so I can live with it. And you're saying, no, I have my own life, and I want more happiness than you, so you'll come with me. Now you're asking, does God approve of this, that I'm putting my happiness above my daughter's? I don't know. Maybe you do need to leave. Maybe there's someone waiting who will bring happiness to both you and your daughter. Or maybe not. I don't know. You haven't told me the full story. That's why it's unclear. Should you go or not? You need to pray. Maybe it's better to go back to your husband, or does he already have another family?
My ex-husband also lives in another city now, and it seems he already has a new family there.
So, many options are possible. You need to pray so that your heart confirms the right decision. God will show you the way through prayer, and your daughter will also understand if it's truly the right path. The path you're speaking about. Just pray. That's exactly what you need right now. Prayer is necessary because bad fate is influencing you at the moment. It's blocking your ability to choose or act wisely. That's why you don't know what's right. You need prayer to gain clarity. I may know, but please understand this. I'm not going to live your life for you. There are certain matters I simply have no right to advise on. These are the key crossroads of life. You're not talking about just moving to another country. You're talking about going to a person, and in doing so, breaking the bond between your daughter and her father for the sake of that person. Maybe it will turn out to be good for both of you. I don't know. But this you must understand within your own heart. God will guide you from within.
Thank you very much.
Your question, yes. The lady over there, your turn. Let it be a question about the lecture, not personal matters. The previous lady asked about the stages of prayer. Please ask something from the lecture too.
Hello. Thank you for your lecture. I wanted to ask about the right mindset during prayer. I place an image of a saint and bow to it.
The bowing should be done mentally. You should either sit still or stand quietly.
And the mood should be like, I want to serve you, to be of help.
Yes, I want you to be happy. I want to serve you. I am grateful to you. I admire you. Thank you for existing. I want to feel your presence. I want to understand how you live, how you serve God. I don't want to think about my own life right now. I want to think only about yours. When a person forgets themselves, God begins to remember them. As long as we are preoccupied with ourselves, God cannot enter our consciousness. But the moment we forget ourselves and meditate fully on the saint, immediately God rushes into our lives. Because we forget ourselves only for brief moments, He has to act quickly while the door is open. He works swiftly before we remember ourselves again. As soon as we do, He leaves instantly. We have such a deep-rooted habit of relying only on ourselves in matters of fate. We can't even tear our attention away from ourselves for a single second. But when we forget ourselves and focus on the saint, God at that very moment begins to harmonize everything inside, in our hearts and in our destiny. The principle is this: as long as a person wants to fix their life by their own effort, God does not interfere. But when we truly let go and say, "My Lord, you decide everything, I am here to serve you," then you serve him and he begins to serve you, because he is utterly selfless. He never remembers himself, only others. We don't let him in. Take a simple example. A man says to a woman, "Marry me, marry me, marry me, marry me, marry me." And she replies, "Listen, let me say something." But he insists, "No, quiet, just marry me." She says, "But you're not letting me say a single word. How can I give you an answer?" That's how we are. We don't let go of the situation. We don't allow God to respond. We keep a tight grip on the situation, trying to control it ourselves. And because of that, nothing changes. There is no victory over fate. This is a spiritual disease, and the cure is to remember God. When you forget yourself completely, in that very moment, God begins to cleanse your entire being from all suffering and pain. He doesn't want you to suffer either. To learn more on the subject of health and healing of the body, please make sure to read my health guide, available for download on my YouTube channel or on my Instagram page. Thank you very much and see you soon.